Hello, everyone. Happy Friday afternoon from us here at Waypoint slash Waypoint Plus. It's Austin Walker. I'm joined by Rob Zachney. Rob, I can't hear you. Are you talking? Did you say something?
Wait, are you kidding?
No, I can.
You can't
now
hear
I
me.
can hear you. But you were
did the Discord.
Discord did the thing. Yeah, Discord did the thing where it was like, no, absolutely not. Also, Patrick Klepek.
I've got. I've been trying. So some news broke in the movie world right as we were about to go to this. That mate.
I'm listening.
Screamed Rob Zachney to me, and I was trying to figure out, like, I feel like I know Rob pretty well. Like on a scale of like 1 to 10, 10 being like very excited. I was penning this like an 8. So you tell me, Rob. Exclusive. Justin Kroll over at Deadline.
Yeah.
20th Century developing new Master and Commander movie with
Ooh.
Patrick Ness penning the script.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's
a
8.
10,
That's some
baby.
fucking Rob
That's a 10?
Zachney.
Okay, all right. I wasn't like I've never seen that movie. I've heard it's fantastic. I heard people like,
Oh my fucking god!
swear
They were
by
gonna
that film.
there was like a 3-picture deal. It just didn't do well, and people fucked it up. Like, imagine we could have had the annual tradition of the Aubrey Maturin like nautical adventure. They left in the middle of a chase, not a car chase, but like a ship chase.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And like you can assume it all works out because Mr. Polling's probably had that shit on lockdown. But still, do we know for certain now that that wily French commander is still out there? Fuck yes.
All right, so it was a 10, not an 8. All right, I wasn't sure if I was, I wanted to say 10, but I wanted to give myself some wiggle room. I'm glad I was.
That was
that
was a direct and clear read. I'm happy with this. We're not here to talk about Master and Commander. Maybe in the future we could find a reason.
We do audio commentaries. Like, let's watch Master and Commander with me and Rob.
Well, I'm down. I'll watch that shit with you. Let's go. I like boats, not as much as Rob, but I'm down. I have a good time with that. We are here to talk about Waypoint Plus and what it means. Also, I did just hit the record button, so I guess I'll talk about that in a second. Why I hit the record button on this?
Do I need to record myself?
We should probably record ourselves. Is what
I'll
because
Really?
yeah, why not put this in the new feed? It's live. It's free for everybody right now.
That's
but if
true.
we're gonna answer questions, why not hit the feed? Why not?
Oh no, we have hype trains turned on.
I know it's been Patrick. It's been a whole week of this. So
You
I
can
don't
turn them off.
how this is not. See, I don't know how
We
Twitch
won't do it
works
now.
anymore.
You're gonna have to live with the hype train. But it was when I
See?
when I was streaming. I don't know something. But like the hype trains were added in between the last time I like my break.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm turning.
You gotta turn them
like,
off.
I understand how they work
Yeah,
psychologically.
they're
I
great.
understand the hype train mentality.
Yes.
But like I was like, no, like no hype trains.
Well,
on.
if we
I
could
let people
only-
hype train once.
Let's move
And
the
I was like,
hype train to a different track.
There we
let's
go.
say.
Waypoint.vice, that's not the address. It's waypoint.zone/subscribe, or it's vice.com/waypoint plus. If we could like make the hype train button.
Waypointplus.com seems to redirect now.
Does it? Did we buy that? Before we say that again out loud. All right, great. We bought waypointplus.com. Waypointplus.com. It's simple. It's easy.
Did we buy it after the launch of Waypoint
Yes.
Plus?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did it happen to come up?
It's a redirect.
It's a redirect. It's so easy to use. Yeah, we realized in a meeting with some people the other day, I was like, wait, is Waypoint Plus just available? And it was, so we just got waypointplus.com. We're going to talk about some questions. Also, Rob, really quick, you should start recording yourself on Audacity. Just
Oh,
do
I'm
it.
recording.
All right. Can we just do a 3,
On
2...
Reaper, though.
Let's do it. Okay. Well, you're an audio professional.
3, 2, 1, clap.
Yeah,
That
let's
was
just do a
good. Shout out to
3,
make
2,
good
1
enough.
clap. Yeah, ready?
All
Okay.
right.
3, 2, 1. It's not going to be synced for people at home, but
We don't need time
the
for that.
producer will
We're
see
good.
it. Welcome to a special question bucket edition of, I don't know, whatever is going to be this special Waypoint Plus feed. I'm Austin, Rob, and Patrick are here. We asked people to send us a bunch of questions about Waypoint Plus, E3, some other stuff, and so I put together a slideshow with everyone's questions. I'm presenting this to the class at this point.
So wait, hold on. Back up. First,
Go back. Oh, you know what? Yes. Number one. Shout outs
Yep.
to Stephen Maurice Graham, who made this incredible Waypoint Plus art before Waypoint existed. This predates Waypoint. This is classic Vice gaming art. Stephen Maurice Graham, who is on Twitter. I've been meaning to say this literally all week. We
used that art so many times in stories that didn't have good art. It was like
100%.
like indie game that can't represent it well in a screenshot.
Yes.
Slap this art on there. It looks cool on Twitter.
This is old art. Yeah, so 400 Facts, 400 FACTS on Twitter, made this art years ago. I'm glad it's getting its time in the sun again today. I love it. It's very good. You can also see it, obviously, if you go to waypointplus.com. Yeah, 400 facts. That's right, to people in the chat. So, do you have something else? Was that what you were going to ask, Patrick?
No, it wasn't. It was.
Oh, okay.
All right, so
we're going to ask this. We're going to ask.
You have the art.
Yeah.
There's a plus sign.
Yeah, this is a Google spreadsheet.
You have written out.
Oh, yeah.
Waypoint Plus.
I see. You're saying, why am I not adhering to this little plus icon?
Yeah. Get on the brand.
I like it in the what we would call the word mark, or the kind of image here. I like that part of it. But I don't love it in just like regular text. Do you know what I mean? Like,
okay.
let me.
Oh, because you
like
can't
if I just
actually put it.
If I just
raise
see,
it.
this doesn't look right to me.
That looks bad.
That looks bad. I can't make it.
You're right.
I guess I could. I could make it.
No, that font just doesn't have a good plus.
It doesn't, but
also,
it's also.
It also looks like some sort of healthcare.
Yeah, it does. But wait, okay, what if I make
like
it
we're
big?
signing
Wait.
Like Waypoint Plus is about to deny your coverage.
I may have faked it. Make that a little bit smaller now. For people who are just listening, I've gone into the spreadsheet here, or not the spreadsheet, the Google, what are these called? Slides? Google Slides, and made it bigger so that it sort of sits near where it's supposed to in the in the logo. Now we're branded. Yeah, bigger than before. Exactly. Way More Point. I think this was Rob. Was Way More Point a Zachney original, or was that a Jason original? Someone came up with Way More Point.
That was a Jason original.
Okay.
And Jason was very proud of it.
Right.
And wanted everyone to know.
But also, he's like, but also
really
open to throwing it. He's like, well, if you guys don't like it, it's fine. You know, but it's like, no, that's actually that's a very funny little joke. We're gonna that one stuck as the copy evolved.
Why not? Right.
Well, yeah, and also he was really hung up on the little like downward arrow. The
I know.
carrot.
I can't.
So
I saw that today.
Can you explain? You should explain the carrot joke.
So okay, this is Jason. My version of this is better than yours. So you don't need to put the story out there because I think it is a little more complicated than this. But for ages, there kept being this inexplicable, way more like on all our branding. There was this little thing that was like.
Jason's in the
Waypoint
chat
Plus
wanting to clarify
with a carrot. Way More Point with a carrot.
Yeah.
And I kept being like, what the fuck is this with a carrot? Like what? Like why does it keep? And it was like dandelions in the lawn. Like it was just like, or mushrooms just kept popping up. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And eventually Jason was like, no, I want a carrot, like the punctuation.
Yeah.
Can you throw a little carrot up there, Austin, on the slide so we can see exactly what we mean?
Where do you want it?
Just next to the plus.
Just next to the plus?
Yeah, because
just like the carrot that's already
arrow
like
pointing
arrow
up.
point. Yeah, shift
of
6 is what you want. You want this, like one of these?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, the one that points down.
I don't have that one on my keyboard, Rob.
Well, neither did the
There
RT.
we go. I got it.
And so they kept interpreting it
It's a V.
as they were like, "Oh yeah, so with a carrot, we got it." And they just kept adding the text with a carrot to the marketing material. And like Jason was like, "No, it's got to be with a carrot. Way More Point."
So they were
like
doing
being like the editorial marker. Insert way.
Were they doing way with a carrot point? Or were they doing Waypoint and then were they doing Waypoint
plus with a carrot?
That's what they were saying. Or with a carrot like this?
Yes. And what Jason wanted was Way More Point.
Right.
And there'd be like more was being inserted in the
point,
middle
which I can't
of the word,
really
the
do
editorial
here,
marker.
but yeah, I get it.
And the thing is, it stuck around for more than one iteration of the copy to the point where we got into a meeting, and I don't know if it was Rob or myself, was just like, hey, what the fuck's up with this carrot thing? Like, I keep waiting for it to disappear, and it keeps sticking around. In these
I kept being like, Jason, with a carrot thing's going to disappear, right? That can't go out. And eventually we figured out like what was in his like imaginatorium as he related this to the art team.
Yeah.
And it is pretty good. If you end up seeing a Waypoint Plus ad somewhere on the web,
I saw
for those
it
of you
today. I saw it today somewhere on Twitter. I can't find it again.
Wait,
I don't
really?
Know. Yeah, remember earlier before we started the stream.
That's what you meant.
I messaged Rob and Patrick. I was like, I saw this Waypoint Plus graphic today on Twitter. I can't find it now on any of our pages.
I can pull it up.
Because I was like, oh, that would be a useful thing to put on the screen. Kato put together this great little sidebar thing over on the right of your screen right now. But I was like, well, I don't know if I want to use that format for the layout today. Maybe I want to use a different format, so let me see what other graphics are available. And I thought I had it, but I didn't have it. And now it is what it is.
So someone pointing out, can we?
1 second. I got 1 second. 1 second.
Okay.
Jason's in the chat first of all, trying to correct parts of the story, including that Waypoint was never Jason's brainchild. It was just he was trying to fix it. Jason, can I post this thing you sent me on Slack? Is this acceptable? Can I do that? Am I allowed to do that? I need clearance here. You just let me know. Jason says yes in the chat. All right, what we got here is an email. Gamingadvice.com is the address. I think we got a copy of the email, and it's from Jason saying, hey, thanks for this. We think it's great. Couple questions, notes, thought. Can we try to have 2 alt versions of Waypoint when where more is bolded or somehow stands out slightly? I think it's a matter of making the font barely perceptibly bigger. And then we have been joking about this for a while, but the idea has grown us. Is there a version of the logo where we add more with an editor-style caret between way and point? I drew an elaborate diagram to explain this. I would ... I would say ... Not pressing on this one, but I think it could be fun to see what something in this vein would look like. I gotta say, Jason, this is as clear as it could possibly be. That is just, and you show what you mean. How did they get to say with a carrot? You were getting owned. I have to tell you, I think y'all were all getting just absolutely punked. If I was on the design team, I would be laughing so hard every time I was sent back with a carrot.
It kept coming back.
Oh, it's so funny.
Like, another person looked at it and was like, time for the third art pass, and like it's still there.
With a carrot.
With a carrot. Thank you, Jason. What's should we get to some? Oh yeah, you found?
Oh, Rob has it.
This is it.
Yes,
did I see it on the internet? I didn't see it on.
Yeah, you might have saw it
on. I saw it on. I was probably reading Gita's Sims story today and saw this ad that was just on Vice.
Look at that.
Yeah, there you go. Way more point. I like it. I'm down. Anyway, we're here to answer your questions. Does that sound like a good idea?
Sure.
All right. This first one comes in anonymous. Again, gamingatvice.com is the address. Use the subject question. Congratulations on the launch of Waypoint Plus. This person's done like the camel case single word.
Yeah, this is. Oof.
I don't love that. I don't hate it, but it's just not. It's just not
you.
It's not me. I've no shade on this person who wrote in this very nice email.
I've been listening. Our style guide is for
no. How are they supposed to fucking know? Guide. Exactly.
They didn't know there was a carrot.
Oh, sorry. That is Pascal case, not camel case. Thank you, Baron Bliss in the chat. I don't know your listen. Apologies. Send corrections to. I've been listening to the podcast and reading the articles for about 4 years now, and I can't wait to see what this means for the future of Waypoint. As for the actual questions, I know there are probably plans to incorporate this, but will y'all be making a separate question bucket for After Dark? What would that look like? The looser feel of that first After Dark episode makes the new podcast feel like a great opportunity to dive even deeper into the food/question bucket. Thanks for your hard work and being a vital voice in games journalism. Hope you all have a great weekend. I think you're seeing it, baby. I think, hey, from our boss, can we put this email you sent to the design team in the podcast? Might be the way in. Yeah, I think so. I don't have like a definitive answer. We're kind of building the ship, as it flies through the air. Is that what they're building the plane in the air?
There's one thing the history of Waypoint tells us is that this team needs more emails, and it needs more question buckets.
Yeah,
and we burn through those so fast. We always need more, and we need more channels for them.
That's like the fact that we need a second one where people could be a little looser about their like weird habits. Hey. This one's for the main feed.
Yahoo Anime, the Yahoo Anime bucket. Only people you can trust with the food, with your bad food opinions. Yes, agreed.
I think Waz has like the perfect energy.
Shout outs
for
to
the After Dark.
100%. I'm not trying to make a big name fan happen. That's not the way I like to live. But I do think over the last year, especially over the COVID years, this person who emails in, Jesse, aka the Wazinator, I want to say. has sent so many of our favorite goofy ass questions to where, like, if we're having a random day or like we don't have much to talk about, I can just search for Waz and probably come up with a good question. Like, here's one right now. Howdy, Waypoint. This is from earlier in May. Do you have a traditional end of relationship or breakup food? I just realized I always get a bigger burger than normal, so I can fall into a food coma. Regards, Waz. Great question.
Do they get bigger over time? Like,
the
next, or is it based on the length?
I think it's
of the
based on the seriousness of the relationship. Because sometimes you can be in a long relationship and it can end, and you're like, yeah, okay, it was time for that to wrap up. We're basically finished this relationship a year ago and just kind of stuck it out. But there are other times when you're like, whoa, this one really hits, and it doesn't even have to have been all that long. I think you got to go hard on those. Those are the ones you got to eat the biggest burger.
I think it's been a minute. Historically, though, my traditional end of a relationship meal is a carton of cigarettes.
Mine's a haircut. So yeah, it's not food. It's time to redefine my body in other ways. I'm sorry that yours is with nicotine and tar, Rob. It is what it is. Walking Snorlax in the chat says, that was a single patty relationship. Brutal.
Jesus.
Just devastating.
That's me half a bar of breakups.
Yes. Let's keep rolling. We got a bunch of them here. Hey, Waypoint Plus crew, congrats. If you had to rate it, was the launch middling, successful, extremely successful, or life-changing? How soon can we expect Vice to rebrand as Vice, a Waypoint company? I'm so glad this got to happen. Love y'all's stuff.
The analogy, the scale I used before.
Yeah.
About at the start of the week.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon leaning back in his chair,
yeah.
eyebrow raised.
Yeah.
I think at this point, Vince McMahon is kind of looking around.
Doing the eyes wide open, mouth agape.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not all the way to like, not life-changing.
Not like heavy breathing, not falling.
Not falling.
But like, am I the only one seeing this?
We got an email thread today, right? Or was that yesterday?
Oh, truly, you have achieved corporate success when you get the and not just email. 7 response to the point where, like, DM and Rob, this is our email. I think one of us should respond. And Rob's like, I'm on it. I got it. Like, I'm working on the response. Like, we need to acknowledge our own success.
It has been incredible. Yeah, I'm so happy that y'all, with the support that y'all have shown us already. I said during that initial call or that initial Waypoint After Dark that we had a number that we were trying to hit. We are not at that number. It's in range. It's totally possible that we hit it before E3.
Could hit it on the stream.
Who knows how this stream goes? Like, Jason could come in chat right now and be like, "You hit it," and then all the red alarms go off, and then our life changes. That doesn't actually. Our lives. This is the actual. The actual answer here is that, like, life changing is both something that, yes, of course, it's already changed our lives because it means that our day-to-day looks different. But also, life-changing has a limit when what you do is talking to a microphone about video games and politics and culture, unless you're super successful at the ninja level, which I don't think any of us could live like that, frankly.
No, that sounds miserable. You read what that life is, and that doesn't...
Yeah,
that doesn't seem
so
both in scale.
I could see it'd be a lot of fun. Like, imagine being the not piece of shit Joe Rogan. Like, imagine like just having
they all go bad.
They all go bad. They all go bad. I don't think you can get through it. I don't know who that is.
You think just the scale of it predetermines that, like, you're gonna end up being the villain?
I was just talking about this. Go ahead, Patrick.
I was gonna say it's like child acting, right? Like it corrupts almost all, and then what's remarkable is when you get someone like who isn't a terrible piece of shit.
Right.
It feels like that it corrupts in the same direction.
I was saying to someone the other day that, like, when we talk about the freedom this is going to give us, it does not mean freedom from pressures or limits or something like that. It just shifts what those are to something we're more comfortable with. Like, in the old model, we had to be aware of traffic, of how many eyes we're getting on ads, right? And that, whether or not, even if you're very conscious of that pressure and you want to work around it, you inevitably start to make certain decisions in order to make sure you achieve those goals so that people keep their jobs and stuff like that. At least I can speak to that when I was EIC, at least. I
would spend days where I was told, just chill, like
totally.
Spend some time writing a feature, and I wouldn't. I would in the background, but also, like, I also need to post like 2 things today and like 2 things tomorrow,
right?
Because I know that's the metric we're being measured against, and it could never just like take the deep breath that
right.
I wanted to, even if people were telling me you can take that breath.
But you know, and you've good reason not to believe them. No offense again to the people saying it, but you've seen in the past when those cuts come, they hit you, and they hit you as a surprise, right? Like, I've said this before, but Mike Diver was essential to getting Waypoint off the ground, and then he got cut in a round of UK cuts that we had no idea were coming. Completely unrelated. So you don't even know. You don't even know when it's going to come.
And like you sent me a DM, I was like,
dude,
like, Mike's not here anymore.
Right, I got pulled into a room and someone told
about?
me, yeah, and so like, stuff like that can happen, and so you're always like shaky on that. And so this gives us a little bit more security in that regard because the business model is built around the team being the team and the team making stuff. But also, that doesn't mean there aren't other pressures, and I think those pressures probably at the large enough scale get to be part of the thing that hits you and like shapes the way your content goes. And I wouldn't want to have an audience so loud and so big that I couldn't say no to them. Do you know what I mean? That like I couldn't say no, I'm not bringing that person on. We're not sharing our platform with X or whatever, right? Like that stuff is important. So, but yeah, very successful. Very happy with it so far. More to come, hopefully. Taking things one step at a time. I think, Rob, you've been very good at holding the reins and being like, let's not overreach too quickly. I'm gonna do something very funny right now, which is I'm like, we're gonna stay really humble. I'm gonna turn this ring light on because I don't like my degree of lighting that I have right now.
We had conversations that was like, all right,
right.
There's money. What do? Okay, how do we get a budget? I mean, that's like,
how do we get a budget?
It's quite literally like the stage that was like, prove it successful, get people behind it, and then figure out what it means. Like we are only going to start having we thought these conversations were going to be later. They're now happening faster.
Now
they'll be after kind of the E3 stream that that we're going to be doing. But it is like, hey, after that's done, we'll have established like what this is in terms of the level of support. Then the question becomes, well, what do we do with this?
Right.
In both for ourselves and like as a thing that exists within Vice. So I think that's something we're going to spend. I don't know, like the plan when we talked about this ahead of it launching was like, we're going to spend the summer figuring it out.
Yeah.
And the money part kind of has been figured out. Now we need to figure out like how what does that mean for our day to day and our setup
and how best to use it, and not just like. Yeah, we'll see. It's not like, just to be clear, it's not like that money goes into a direct bucket that then we just scoop up and like.
It's not a credit card that's like,
right.
It's gonna go. Patrick has been buying a gaming PC to see if he can get Vice to buy him one.
It would be sick if Vice bought us one now. You know what I mean? I feel like we have that leverage now to have those conversations. We're having conversations about time, about role, salary, like all that stuff is stuff that we can now try to broach in a more leveragey way.
I think I DM'd Rob, and we can leave it here. Is that now is the time for me to find even more niche stories targeted to less people, but I still find interesting.
Find more
Thank you, subs
doors
for
in
allowing me to find the speedrunner of a DS game from 2006 that four people play. Here's how they got clipped through this wall.
Yeah.
That's definitely one way we could use those resources.
Right, yeah. Just to answer something in the chat, Munocard says, I'm assuming Austin still has no interest in coming back as a full-time employee. I'll be doing more, like, streams and podcasts and stuff. So, like, you'll see an uptick in whatever my title or role or whatever is. What I'm not doing is, like, taking over a management role ever again in my life, probably. But what I am going to do is be around more often, and you don't have to worry about, like, what that looks like on the back end. We'll figure all that out. Speaking of back ends and figuring stuff out, Pietrick writes in and says, hi, lovely people. I want to subscribe, but I don't have a credit card. Maybe here in the Netherlands, it isn't as needed as in the U.S. I do have PayPal for Humble Bundles and stuff. Is it possible to subscribe using PayPal? So, I think that you can, but you have to get in sideways. If you go to the site, waypointplus.com, with Google Wallet set up, I think using Chrome or using or Apple Pay, I think, and you have PayPal connected to either Google Pay or Apple Pay, or Google Wallet or Apple Pay, then you can use PayPal around the way. And so that, and I think Google Pay or Google Wallet may even have a direct to your bank account setup that you could set up. So I know that some people did this. People in the chat are saying, I can confirm I did this using Google Pay. So I know some people have done that. I think that that's an important thing just to shout out, because I know some people have questions about that. So I wanted to say that here. We'll have to repeat this on a regular podcast also so that everyone there knows about it. But that's a quick and easy one. So I hope you figured it out, Pietrick. Thank you again for your support.
I also know what I'm going to change my name to if I move to the Netherlands.
Pietrick. That's good. That's fun. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Apologies if I am not. Another Waypoint Plus, nuts and bolts question. Waypoint Plus nuts and bolts. The fan loved the critical darling that didn't really blow up on the Xbox 360. Will there be an annual subscription option soon? I prefer to have... I have to look past the ring light now. My subscriptions be annual, even if there's no discount. This would also make gifting subs more appealing, as right now you can only gift 1 month at a time. I guess by the way, you can gift subs now, waypointplus.com. I don't know what the timeline is on this. Rob, do you...
So I think this is kind of a stay tuned question,
yeah.
Because one of the things is, as people probably can tell, this came in hot. And it was sort of very assembled, as we said, sort of assembled in the air. One of the things we're feeling out is both what level of support are we going to arrive at, and then what does a sustainable, healthy Waypoint Plus ecosystem look like for us? And I think once the answers there are a little bit clearer, I think the plan is we're going to discuss, we're going to codify this a little bit more.
Did that come through?
Codified it.
Did that come through?
What was that?
What?
I'm in the middle of a wild storm now, so if we go down, one of you has to pick up the stream, and I'll call in on my phone. But it's like thunder and lightning in the middle of Queens right now.
It sounded like there was maybe some tap dancing happening on the floor above you.
No, that was thunder and
cool.
lightning. So, sorry, Rob.
My daughter just had a show for her dance class, a tap dancing ballet thing. And in the middle of the show, a girl, they all still wearing masks, puked into her mask.
Patrick, why do you always derail these conversations with gross shit? For the second time.
Sorry. All right.
This is being a dad. Rob, continue on.
So anyway, I think we probably are going to be rolling out an annual subscription thing. That's probably also going to be attended with a slightly maybe a more built out description of what Waypoint Plus is, because a lot of this was almost like we have to be a little bit vague and like Beth hedging, because we don't know what this is going to be like. So my guess is stay tuned. In the next few months, probably we're going to come back with a slightly more cleaned up, buttoned down version of what the pitch is, and that probably comes with here's what a annual sub, here's what we can promise will happen in that next year. We didn't launch it because who knew how it was going to go? We were pretty confident that we would be successful enough for it to be considered a success, more or less. But we weren't sure at that point that we knew for a fact that we'd be doing it in a year. And so the idea of selling subscriptions for a year when we weren't sure what that would even look like or if we'd be allowed to do it felt like maybe not the first. It was a put the horse before the carriage thing. We got the horse now. We got the carriage. We put them there. Now we can talk about how to make that thing go a little further. So, here we go. This one's from JJ, who says, I'm very excited about Waypoint Plus. I subscribed the second you announced it on the pod. I know you're hoping/planning to bring back old favorites, but I'm wondering... Wow, okay.
Yeah, it's like that. I know.
So much,
the lightning hit, and I was like...
boulder down the stairs,
Yeah, But I wonder if there's anything you never got a chance to do and plan on doing for this sub. And if I can make a request, please do a Waypoint Plus episode about your love of Souls, Bloodborne, and Sekiro. I never get tired of hearing y'all talk about it, even if I often re-listen to old pod episodes just to get a fix. Looking forward to what's coming. JJ. This one's for JJ. That wasn't a good Spider-Man. I was so scared about the thunder and lightning, I couldn't really lean into it. You think Spider-Man gets shook when it's storming out? It's probably scary.
Feel the lightning and thunder coming constantly?
Yeah.
Turn this off.
Well, and are his web shooters traditional Spider-Man with the metal web shooters? Or maybe they're some sort of plastic.
How conductive is his synthetic webbing? That's the real question.
We have to look at some electro issues to find out about that.
Yeah. I think my guess is probably isn't super conductive compared to the buildings he's zipping around on.
Yeah. Good point. People are noting he's not grounded when he's up in the air. I guess that's true. So
yeah, that's a great point too.
That's a good point. I bet it's still scary though. It's probably just
I
loud.
wouldn't cling to the side of like a radio antenna if I were him. Like that seems like
stick to gargoyles.
Would he just be like a bird on a wire?
I think
where
so.
It's like,
it would go through and it would hit the bottom, right?
Man, electricity, so mysterious. Doesn't behave according to rules that mortals can understand. Unpredictable. Barely tamed.
Stay tuned for our science podcast.
Yeah, this is one of the things we're going to do that's not... I don't know, like, what are the things? I think one of the big ones that we've talked about is working with some more guests. You just recorded that L.A. Noire, Waypoint 101, with Cam Kunzelman, so that's exciting. And we just had Dia on for the Nier spoiler cast, the Nier Replicant one a few weeks ago. So I think that's one of the things I would toss in the hat there, is like, this gives us the resources to bring guests on and make sure that that's like done the right way. Anyone else have anything that's like... Also, streaming in general is just... I know it's an old thing, but it's also a new thing in the sense that I want to stumble into another show as exciting, or format as exciting as Breakfast and Battleground was, or as exciting as seeing Patrick go through Mario Maker mornings back in the day, or Spooking with Scoops, all the that
like,
style.
Something beyond just the new game is out, like let's watch us play it. Not saying that we wouldn't if there was something that really struck us.
Right.
Hey, when that like Marvel XCOM game comes out in the fall,
right.
Like I want to see Rob and Austin play that. But yeah, I think things like your permadeath and Breath of the Wild, like those are along the lines of you don't want to make it so that every stream has to be an event, but like moving in the direction of like if I was going to play Dark Souls with like Austin again, like one, it would be fun to do the like two-handed or the two hands one controller Sekiro again. That was fun. I've never played with the Dark Souls randomizer. Like I think that would be fun. That's something in that vein. So also like if people have ideas, like that's the kind of thing where like throw them at us especially if you're thinking of things in that vein as we try to start to brainstorm, which is also like what this summer was supposed to be, which is like this thing being more successful than we expected. Almost feels like shit. Like come on, I thought we had like 60 days to like mess around, and we still do that.
Yeah.
And if anything, it makes us more comfortable to do that messing around, given that now we have a foundation to do it. But like that's part of what this summer is, and before like an annual sub is like, what are we excited to do? Like, can we find a way to do like a remote like hot mic mornings?
I would love to do hot mic mornings again. I really would.
You and I got real hot talking about like a version of that.
It would be good.
Like, still, like, how do you do it? What's the setup? What is the frequency? I don't know. So like that's the part that we're still figuring.
Dragon's Dogma to Tuesdays. Patrick, I've meant to tell you, I'm back in the end game. I'm in the post game of Dragon's Dogma.
I saw you posted this tweet.
Dude, that game is so good.
I saw the follow-up, which was complaining about like Twitter compression.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Because you posted a dark video, but
that I don't know how much of that post game you remember, or like how much the world changes after you fight the dragon, and then you like get back in the world, and there's that like post game dungeon that unlocks where you.
Yeah, I didn't do any of that.
But you had to have, because I know you. Or did you only watch the true ending of that game?
I must have done it.
You must have done it. It's been so long, but the world state changes, new enemies get added everywhere, and then you get this post-game dungeon that's like wild, all new enemies in there, and then you get the stuff that's like the true mindfuck ending. We should talk about it at some point somewhere.
Yeah.
We should.
Can we do a Dragon's Dogma spoiler cast where we just talk about our vague memories of
Well,
Dragon's
I just
Dogma?
replayed most of it, so it's fresh. It's fresh. I didn't actually play most of it. I played half of it last year, and I just picked that save up. And normally when I'm in the mood to play some Dragon's Dogma, I just start the game over. And this time I was like, I know how the first half of this game goes so well. I've done that 4 or 5 times now. Let me just play it through, and it's so good. Anyway,
shout outs to Polygon, who just rated the stream.
Oh, thank you to Polygon. Shout outs.
To Polygon.
So many cool people over there. We got another one here, Daniel from Orlando. Congrats on getting to do more cool stuff. Easiest subscription decision I've ever made in a long time. You may have answered this already, but will we get archived somewhere besides Twitch? And the real question: Monster Rancher pioneered generating monsters from CDs, and I admit I may have purchased some albums specifically because of the unique creatures they unlocked. These days,
you and me both.
Yeah, these days CDs and even disc drives are few and far between. So what would you want to see a new Monster Rancher or spiritual successor use to generate monsters for you? Feasibility or limitations of reality need not be considered. Praise collective action, Daniel from Orlando. Yes, we're getting archives on YouTube, presumably. Rob, is that true?
Yeah, I think actually one might be going up right now.
Oh, sick.
From like, so the short answer is yeah, absolutely. Like,
Yeah.
we're going to have a smoother pipeline on YouTube. And again, this is an example of like, there are just frictions to what we were dealing with before that will make zero sense to you, but were absolutely real. One of them was anything we did on Twitch required like conversations with other people to move the archive onto YouTube, or it required like Kato time, which was a precious commodity.
I remember the
split
forms I used to have to fill
Dude.
out to upload a video. My brain is actually like experiencing trauma.
You
thinking
blacked
about
this
those-
out. You'd forgot you had not
Yes.
let yourself
There was
think
a
about
period
this.
to upload
Yeah,
a video
dude.
that I had to get like approval, like just hey, I streamed Spelunky, and then there's, you know, a 90 minutes of work
Bruh.
just to like beyond uploading the video.
Yeah, we had to get. Remember, like we've now talked about the launch of this website and that like the point at which lawyers wanted us to get specific. We've told that story probably.
I feel like it's overt, like you're getting Sony to
approve
Write
us
an email
playing
that-
Sony games. Yeah,
There was,
Uh-huh.
you guys need to go to Nintendo and get an open-ended license to use any Nintendo characters for anything in perpetuity on Vice.
Right, that's the thing is, it wasn't
Um,
just can you send them this letter that says sign off on use for this one stream. Really, it was like the real ass full in perpetuity in any, like, basically give us a Mario. And it's like, well, that's not gonna work. They're not gonna
license Mario back to you. Like, we're not saying only we can use Mario, but we are saying we can use Mario.
Yeah.
And I think there were two instances. One, I went to, and in each of these, like, I was tasked with doing a lot of this stuff while Austin was doing a lot of like the planning in New York, and so I was handling, like, hey, I know all these PR people, like, I'll try and run legal through this, and I would talk to PR people ahead of sending. I would call them and be like, hey, I'm gonna send you a weird email, and I need to explain why I'm sending that, and then let's try and go from there. And then I would send the email. I believe it was like Namco replied saying, you should just listen and trust Patrick. He's been doing this a long time. This is like with legal CC'd on the emails, just like, why are we having this conversation? Just listen to him. And I think Sony or Square, I think it was Sony, more or less said, if you want to do this, you really want me to go to our Japanese lawyer. If you want me to do this, they are going to say no. Do you want me to do this? And eventually
This is like Billy Bob Thornton in Fargo, like talking to Colin Hanks, right? Where it's like, do you really want to go down this road? Do you really want to do this? Yeah.
And we didn't. We eventually got enough companies to
say that things turned around for us.
I will say, like, the company used to be way more, I guess, like, fractured is the way I put it. Like, also just way smoother now to talk to people on YouTube and the YouTube team and be like, hey, can this just go through? But, like, just this makes it easier to say, like, hey, Waypoint content is worth spending your time on.
Yes.
Whereas, like, in 2017, the vibe was frequently, Waypoint again with this shit,
Right.
and, like, that was kind of how...
Like, real talk, go look at what our numbers are on YouTube. They're not incredible numbers. They're not. And so you have to imagine if you have a YouTube team and they're going to put up a video that's a 12-minute long documentary about sneakers on youtube.com/Vice that's going to get 1.5 million views or something, or they're going to put up a Tactical Tuesdays video that maybe hits 10K. Why would they do that? And the answer now is some percentage of that 10K is spending money every month, and that makes it more valuable than a 30-second ad ahead of time. I got two important ones here from Vehemently in the chat, who is one of our great mods. One, hey, with Waypoint Plus, will y'all finally be able to afford to make your own VTubers? You know, we'll have to put it in the maybe pile. We'll have to see what that number looks like. We have friends who do VTubers. We could talk to people about it. Patrick, I want you to have a VTuber so bad. I feel like you have the energy for it.
I look back at my my experience of trying out as a voice over actor, you know, at various streams. I feel I'm ready for it. I'm ready to take it to the next level. If I'm gonna play Spelunky 2 on a stream, it can't be me anymore. I need to shake it up.
I really want to stream with you as a VTuber crossing over with Danica's VTuber so bad. So bad. I have another one from Vehemently here. Speaking of previous folks who worked here, Vehemently asked whether or not we would potentially see some Natalie Watson on Waypoint Plus stuff. The thing that I would say is, like, I super want that to happen. I think all of us do. Obviously, we work with Natalie. Rob and I work with Natalie on a more civilized age at this point. But Natalie also has a full-time job where if you don't know that she's been working with Sam Barlow on the new Half Mermaid game. And so it's about her availability, honestly. You know, we would love to bring her on for guest podcasts and streams and all that stuff. If she's available, it is an open invitation for Natalie all the time. Likewise, you know, when you're here, you're family. That's what we always say. Everybody gets pizza. Is that what I said? Is that what the Waypoint Plus motto is I came up with the other day? So yeah, we'll see. There's no hashtag no promises.
Shirt.
I am wearing an ice cream party shirt. You're right. It's true.
I had some ice cream for lunch after my lunch.
Ooh,
so.
Look at you. Speaking of when you're here, your family, LP writes in, I've noticed a lot of people conversation around Waypoint Plus content has focused on Kato, Patrick, and Rob. Obviously, folks like Emmanuel, Jason, and Gita are motherboard. Sorry, I'm still looking around this ring light, folks. But can we expect to see them in any regularity? Or does Waypoint mean Waypoint here? Day one community member excited for this new moment for the site. Cheers, LP.
I think the answer is, yeah, you're going to see people more regularly, and that's going to work across a couple axes. For one thing, we used to cast a wider net over on Waypoint into other issues of culture and news and just conversations that people who work here were interested in having. And that was probably, like, that format would have been easier to have people from, like, Motherboard come and join in those conversations. Like, Waypoints is a ready-made, like, Motherboard format. So I think the answer is absolutely, like, we're going to have more opportunities to work with more of our friends at Motherboard and get them on topics they're passionate about and also bringing them into our weirdness. So, you know, you already got a little taste of that, I think, with Gita and Emily. We're doing a Sims podcast earlier this week. If you haven't, like, even if you're not into The Sims, like, it's a great conversation. Check it out.
Yeah.
And like,
I hope we get some. Yeah, I was gonna say, I hope we get some streams also.
Yeah. And Jason and Emmanuel are beating down our door to be allowed to play Warzone together. Patrick has set some really stringent preconditions around that.
I came up. Oh yeah, we're gonna do that. Mm-hmm.
Oh right.
You want to
yes.
tease it?
No. Just
no.
That's all. Yeah. No. Let's not tease it. It's too funny. I want
to play a game.
Okay. Well, now it's been teased.
But yeah, so I think the way I would just say is, like, Motherboard remains a really serious and quality news site that has both different objectives and different incentives, and they're going to continue doing their thing, but also they're full of really cool, smart people that we really like to work with, and we're going to find more opportunities to collaborate there as well.
Totally. Two quick more ones from the chat. Halawala asks, basically, is Kato going to get to spend more time dedicated to Waypoint now with the extra funds, or are you going to hire another producer? What is the kind of distribution of work on the production side? Yeah, Kato is full-time on Waypoint now. Kato's on vacation right now this second, thank God. Kato's taking a break.
Waypoint Plus took off, and Kato said,
hell of a start, Kato.
Kato said, I'm taking off too. Peace.
I need to go play Sonic Colors.
Waypoint Plus, we launched Kato into the Appalachians somewhere.
We did get a message.
He is currently playing on a Wii.
Yes.
He's playing the latest hits on the Nintendo
Sonic
Wii.
Colors, Wii bowling, having a great time. Shout outs to Kato. Love you, Kato. We also got one from Yabo here. He says, why did you choose to do the Disney Plus, Apple Plus naming convention? Discovery Plus, etc.? I think it just flows well. I like Waypoint Plus, as Danny O'Dwyer over on the Bombcast pointed out this week. There's an alliteration to it. That's good. It's preferable to other potential things we could have had, like Waypoint.
There's a document
complete. Yeah, there is probably a document somewhere. We threw out a bunch of names. This was the one. This was the big. Part of it is that is Slate Plus drilled in our heads from years of being disaffected Slate listeners.
We should, with a Waypoint Plus podcast, we're going to start listening to the Slate Political Gabfest again, and then just having a reaction cast.
Yeah, that's content. A lot of suggestions in the chat here. Waypoint Prime, Super Waypoint, Quest Marker from Vehemently, way more Carrot Point. Yeah, okay, now we're talking.
Waypoint Unlimited Pasta Pass.
You know
Shit,
what?
We gotta burn it down.
Start
already.
over. Run it back. Waypoint
New Waypoint
Gaiden.
Pro is
It's
good.
funny that someone says Waypoint Gaiden because I was just in a conversation with someone about whether or not people know what Gaiden means or not, and whether or not enough people know that to be able to use it. And also, like, you can't just use Gaiden. Gaiden, it's a little like on that like we're just using a Japanese word because it's cool, you know?
Yeah, it's a little like, in the Kotaku Gama Sutra,
Yes.
where it's like, do we want to name these things this anymore?
Yeah. Are we past it?
Do
you know
well,
when
for the SEO, we're stuck with Kotaku. Although Gama Sutra
Gama's gonna change sometime soon, I hope. I've heard.
Oh, wait, I found some.
All right, good. Toss them out.
I found the names.
What do we got?
Okay.
Oh, thank you, Jason. Oh my God.
Wait, did Jason link it to you?
Yeah, he linked me screenshots here on Slack.
Okay.
Okay. Top pick so far.
So, here's the origin. Here's the fucking origin.
Yeah.
Top pick so far. Can
Yeah.
only imagine who wrote this. Way, parenthesis, more, close parenthesis, point.
Yeah.
Just in case you were confused, dash, in parenthesis or above with a caret.
Yeah.
That is the suggestion
These are
that
bad.
launched 1,000 bad treatments of the branding.
You want to go through these one by one? Do you want to just talk? So you got way more point. Next up, Waypoint expansion pack. Don't love it. Patrick, you want to hit the next one? Let's go around in the circle here.
Waypoint 1-up.
Huh? They can't use that one.
Can't use that.
I don't know. Does Zip even know they own that?
Oh, rough. What else do we got here? We got Rob.
Waypoint campaign mode.
I mean, it's like a subscription campaign. I like the subhead "Other Thinking" a lot. Waypoint endless mode. I kind of get where that's coming from. Waypoint endless,
Isn't that's the name of the giant bombs thing, right? The station.
That was
runs?
Giant Bomb
What do you-
Infinite. That's infinite.
Infinite.
Yeah.
We have Waypoint horde mode, but crucially, it's horde like a dragon's horde.
Right, I see. Not like a horde of enemies.
Oh no, we're in the Rob suggestion.
Oh yeah, this is
area.
yours.
We
This
don't
next
need,
one.
We don't need to read
Waypoint
these.
capital
all right, well, let's keep
management
going.
was yours. Yeah.
Paypoint.
Paypoint. Waypoint lossless. Lossless is kind of funny.
That is good. I like Lossless.
Lossless is good for just like if I was doing a music blog, Lossless would be a good one. Waypoint sustainable content farm. Good. Waypoint level up. Waypoint sandbox. Sandbox would be a good like show name.
Wait, are you not going to read this one, you coward?
Which one?
Sub for Waypoint.
Sub for Waypoint. I missed sub for Waypoint. Huh. I mean, that's Waypoint boss level, Waypoint
and then
god
we're out
mode.
of me. Like
These are back to.
These are other people.
I'm glad that you're taking credit for sub for Waypoint. I'm happy.
Just
That's
throwing other people under the bus.
Yeah.
I didn't contribute any to any. Of
I don't think.
these
Yeah, I don't
things.
think any
I
of
was
these
not
are
part of
mine.
this.
Waypoint +1 modifier, something from like D&D World. It says here. I think +1 is kind of. I kind of get it. And Waypoint end user. Listen, Genshin Impact just released a character named Eula. Why can't we? Waypoint
I think
XP.
Yeah, the 2.0 cracked us up at a certain point because when we actually tried to figure out what like version of this if the version is what you are measured against by your like
it's Waypoint
superiors,
7.0
executives
or
for success.
something.
Yeah,
really?
I don't. Who knows?
Waypoint Vista, Waypoint Elite 1337, Waypoint Beta. I like that one. That one's very funny because it suggests that we've been in alpha up until now for the last 5 years,
or we've regressed.
We've regressed.
Actually, we're
You're
like
right.
rewriting the code.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So we're going into beta.
2.0, which we said playthrough. There's a mushroom emoji here. Waypoint
The
mushroom
emoji ones are
emoji.
just, what were people thinking?
I don't know.
What?
Sometimes you just say things. Waypoint Sub-Zero emoji. You know,
Naming things is an embarrassing,
It's hard.
soul-searching.
It's
having been
hard.
involved in a number of them. It's
them.
not, and you have to put yourself out there. Like, this doesn't
Yes,
sound good.
yes. You have
But
to
maybe
shout
if we say it
things.
enough times, the mouth feel
it gets there.
will pass legal
Yes.
muster.
Waypoint Infinite, Party Point, Waypoint Side Quest. I don't mind Side Quest.
Bonus
Waypoint
point's not bad either.
Split Screen. That's already a thing. Also, Second Wave. Second Wave is kind of fun. Pro Point, but Prop Oint also, and that's Loot Box, Bonus Point, Double Jump. Jump was one of the things we almost named the site. wasn't it?
That's
the Jump.
True. That one, we got actually like logo treatments for.
We got
Jump,
logo.
right?
I want to say we got logo treatments for the Jump because someone at Vice had once owned a magazine called The Jump, and that meant
so
that
it was legally
so
clear.
it was legally clear for us. Yeah, Open World and Replay. You know,
Open World was the name of a podcast for a brief period of time at some point that I tried to get off the ground after talking to Robert Ashley.
Oh.
I was like, someone should just bring back. You're not going to bring back your podcast.
Right.
Like, it's not happening.
Right.
And I was thinking of trying to do something like that. Got as far as doing interviews for a test first episode.
Yeah.
Interviewed an editor, but then I just never got beyond it. I just ran out of time.
Yeah. Kyle writes in to say, any chance of a new Lore Reasons series? As mentioned, we would love to do that with Natalie specifically. It's hard to imagine Lore Reasons without Natalie, though there are other types of deep dives that I think we would be willing to do. And so stay tuned. We'll figure something out. I feel like it's in the playbox. It's in the sandbox. It's in the Waypoint.
I think specifically Lore Reasons means a certain group of people doing a certain thing.
Right.
And so if we were ever to say Lore Reasons, we would want it to mean what that thing is. But the idea of doing mythology, lore, deep dives, I was telling Austin and Rob, I have an idea of something that I would like to do as a long-term project that is Lore Reasons adjacent. So
right. I'm excited to know what the hell that is. And this one in from one Dia. It's a bunch of horse and fire emojis, and also also some flag. There's a lot happening in this email, but I think what it really is saying is, when are we getting Waypoint plus swag? I want sick vinyl stickers and dope hoodie. Sure. I hope we get merch. Merch is on the list.
That our color would be a really fucking cool hoodie and a shirt.
Yeah,
that would stand out.
I agree with
that.
How
often do you see that color on
very rarely. I think it could look dope.
Any reasons for that?
Because it's too powerful? Is that why?
It might be too powerful.
Sounds fake.
You know what? I'm ready. I'm ready for that power.
I mean, look, if we make if there's a velour jumpsuit Waypoint color thing, I'm there. Absolutely, hook me up.
Next question. This one's serious.
Some salad dressing holders. Maybe Rob will get on board with merch if we could.
Look,
how about some nice tumblers?
Morning.
I think we could get some good. What about just glassware in general? Or what about some glassware in general? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. While I love what you all have planned for Waypoint Plus, some part of me is worried that making more podcasts and doing more streams will take a lot of time and put pressure on you all to do more work for the same pay. Both Austin and Patrick have talked in the past about how demanding the job is already without the extra pressure of sustaining a DTC model that's direct to consumer. Given that you all have been great labor advocates in the past, I wanted to give you a chance to talk about the balance and hopefully tell us that everyone involved is remembering to say fuck capitalism along the way. As needed. Hugs, Adam. I think this is super important and has been, one of the big things I've said again and again during this whole process for me to advocate for myself is if I'm doing this, a thing I need to get access to is vacation time, because right now that's not really a thing that's worked into the way my contract is set up. That is being dealt with. That is 100% being dealt with. And the reason it wasn't dealt with before is not because someone was trying to fuck me over. It's because of America's bad healthcare laws and the ways in which healthcare is offered to contract workers in the role that I'm in. It's being dealt with. So that's an example of how serious that is for us. I think one of the biggest things, and again, Rob and Patrick, you can speak to it, is making sure that in this transition, we don't try to all do two jobs at once. I'm pretty determined not to end up blogging again, for instance. And so that means I won't be taking on that extra job. But for you two, it's how do you make this transition to where you're not trying to play two sports at once, so to speak, Oh,
I can go. I saw Rob. Your mouth
Rob had a
started
look.
To open.
Yeah.
I was thinking, because Patrick's the one who's actually good at this. Sure. I am very much a do as I say, not as I like. I try, I do, but also I think track record in terms of work-life balance. I think Patrick has probably been the most successful
totally.
here.
Yeah, I've pretty strict rules for myself, and I was lucky enough when Waypoint came along that I had not that Austin wouldn't have like respected those boundaries, but I was far enough along in my career to be like, hey, I'm about to have a kid. I'm gonna work 9 to 5ish.
Yep.
Like, I'm gonna break that stuff occasionally. You know, I'm gonna play game. You know, I'm not gonna the bucket of I play games, which is technically overtime, but will go unpaid for all of my career. That's part of it. I think with this is, for example, for me, like I don't know what that balance is quite yet because I need to figure out like what do I want to do? How much are we doing it? Who wants to be part of what? Like those are again, that's part of like the
Totally.
summer of Waypoint Plus is figuring out what those things are. Like if I come up with a cool video series, is like, okay, well, is that part of like the 2 streams we're already doing? But then is Patrick doing a 3rd one? What does that mean in terms of the reporting? That like I'm a reporter at heart. Like I like writing. One of the reasons I like left Giant Bomb was because I got away from writing and reporting and like just really missed it. And so when I was by myself doing like solo video content before Giant Bomb moved into a model where they figured out how to do more things remote, I was like kind of just me and Alex Navarro like figuring that out on our own with Vinny helping us. I just kind of got to a point where I was like, I think I'm just gonna go work with a bunch of writers and reporters and get back to my craft. So, like I don't want to lose that, but there's also worlds where like how do I do stuff like that in like a different format? Like how can I do things where I'm interviewing people doing interesting things, and maybe that is a stream somehow. Like I don't know, but like I'm excited. Like I've always been of the mind that there are ways to take like my original skill set of like finding interesting stories and finding a way to present them while recognizing people are reading them or like kind of whether it's listening, watching. Like I'm just using reading as like a shorthand, like discovering those in different formats. And so like that's the exciting challenge for me is like, oh, this opens the door for me to see what my reporting skills and interests are in a different format. Like that's the exciting part for me. And so I'm
now remembering all sorts of ideas we've had over the years about that, Patrick, that we just couldn't do because we couldn't sometimes you have to slow down in some ways to spend the time to develop a new idea, and we just could never do that. And so hopefully, some of that stuff gets built out for sure.
And again, also, and as a base level thing, like the metrics of which are like base level salaries are judged is different, and so I can like step away from the sort of like I don't do that much blogging anyway. I rather write mostly features, and so but games writing that occurs on Motherboard and Waypoint isn't going to disappear. That's going to be like something where like Emmanuel Myberg is overseeing a lot of that. But me and Rob are still involved, overseeing. We're not necessarily like, crossing every T, dotting every I, but we're trusting folks that we trust to do that work. And while we're kind of off doing this, but I guess the short answer is I don't know. A lot of it's up in the air, but we expect the audience will also help keep us honest because that's part of the reason we talk about it with you.
So the thing I would add to this is I have gotten this wrong so many times that I think only now am I getting good at getting it right.
Yeah.
And this is a separate issue, but I think like something that really helped was that when Austin, you and I were discussing like, hey, do we want to do like this More Civilized Age with Natalie and Allie? All of us came in and had real like brass tacks conversations about like we'd all gotten this wrong in the past, and we were all like never again. We stuck to that. Like we like drew some firm lines, and I think that was good practice for what we're bringing here, where it's like it is so easy to get on this treadmill of all the ideas we have we want to do. Like there's so many, like the thing about an ice cream party is that you want to eat all that ice cream, but you shouldn't. And like all these ideas sound really enticing, and it's really easy to like have an idea of like, oh, we'll commit to this and commit to that, and we'll add tiers. There's a very like, why doesn't Waypoint Plus have tiers right now, and maybe never will have tiers? Because all of us have had that moment of like, there's too many value adds we're offering, and it's like all these things that sounded manageable when you're considering them individually add up to just wall-to-wall workload, and the fun leaches out of it, and suddenly you are phoning it in, and maybe you're good enough that like people can't tell, but and you know how spent you are on the other side of it. So I think one of the ways that we've approached this is just it would have been nice to have figured all this stuff out 10 years ago, but I think we're all at a place where it's way easier to have that like project manager voice and that realistic voice, and the responsible voice to be like, hey, you can't do all these things that sound like moderately cool. And even if you did, you wouldn't enjoy them. You would ruin them for yourself if you did them.
Totally.
And so I think, like, how are we keeping ourselves honest here? It's because we haven't in the past. It's gone bad. And I think only now we figured out how to avoid that.
Totally. Really quick, shout outs to Adam Conover in the chat, and I wanted to say people should go listen to the episode. I mean, they should go listen to Factually anyway, but the Factually episode on NFT art with Everest Pipkin, who's written a really great post a few months ago about NFT art and NFTs and answering all of the questions about why you should be a little skeptical about those. Go listen to that episode. It's a really fantastic episode. Absolutely fuck a NFT to old Gertie bastard.
Are they done? Are NFTs done?
No, they're
Are
not.
they
I follow some artists who still are like on that train.
But I heard the market like completely ate shit.
That doesn't mean people have stopped advertising them in my feed, unfortunately. All right, I'm gonna keep moving. It's time for some E3 questions. You'll see I've added questions about E3 just to clarify. This one comes in from Art.
Who is running the E3 social account?
Good question.
What's wrong with
what's
that?
wrong? Yeah, This is Art Martinez Tebble, Friends of the Table's own. What you're meaning to tell me E3 hasn't started already? We've gotten some E3-ish. We're in the pre-E3 phase. Trailers are dropping, right? You know, we're getting some leaks. We're in the leak phase of E3 at this point.
You got Microsoft accidentally putting in the back end of Steam release dates for Psychonauts 2 right before they formally announce its actual release date. You know, it seems like late August.
Yeah, we'll see.
Funny.
Are y'all gonna talk over the conferences? What does your E3 coverage look like? Summer Games Fest stuff? Tabitha. Also some nice words that I didn't read, but you know, instant subscriber. Can't wait to see the full treatment. Content, not treatment, content. I can't see it through the ring light.
So, I think at first we were like,
actually, you know what?
There's barely going to be any E3. And there's going to be slightly more E3 than we feared. So we'll be doing some of that stuff.
We already, you know what? I think E3 kicked off yesterday when Rob Zachney, Vinny Caravella, and I talked over the Warhammer Skulls showcase, looking at all 57 of the new Warhammer games coming out in the next year. So that's the beginning of E3 to me, baby. The E3 season, at least. But yeah, there's a lot more stuff than maybe we thought there was going to be, Rob.
Yeah, I mean, for one thing, there's 50 Warhammer games. I don't know what else the game industry can possibly hold for us.
Well, we'll find out. We are going to talk over conferences. Rob and Patrick are coming in next week. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we'll be here, twitch.tv/Waypoint. We will be talking over conferences, talking about any demos we've had this week. I know I'm scheduled to see one game this coming week. I know
we have
Patrick,
a studio booked.
We
may not have furniture for that studio, but by God, we have space.
I did raise
There's a camera and there'll be people.
There will be, there's a camera, there will be people.
And then if we have to put out to the Waypoint, we'll send a message to the Waypoint Plus subscribers. Anyone got a couch?
Can we bring a couch through to the studio real quick? You're not allowed in because of COVID precautions, but just leave it out front. We'll pick it up. We're gonna have some friends, swing through a couple times. Probably we're gonna have some folks from the Motherboard team come through, play some games. Like, that's the thing, is like, if there's a lot of downtime, we're gonna fill that downtime with goofing off, playing games, taking questions, etc.
Yeah,
right.
Like mostly daytime.
Yeah,
streams,
we're not gonna do any late in the night shit.
Nothing 2 a.m.
Famous last words, though, right?
Yeah, I can see us.
That won't happen again.
Yeah, well, but the general idea is that we're streaming in the morning so that we can all like go get dinner, hang out, catch up after not seeing each other in person for a long time, and that's kind of also what this getting together is about. But I mean, also that's also the nice part about Waypoint Plus is it will probably mean that we have the budget to get together a lot more frequently now that we're vaccinated and can figure out those plans a little more often.
Exactly. Heater Hand says somebody better make sure that Danica has enough data on her phone. I think being out of the Vice office means our internet will be okay. I hope.
Also, Austin, sleep in the evening?
Listen.
Too true.
Too
much truth in
Too
that.
true. Here we go. TJ writes in, when will we get another Rob grocery haul? Waypoint forever.
Not this time around, because I don't think we didn't book the kitchen. We
That's
could have
true.
booked
We
the
didn't
kitchen.
book the kitchen. That's a shame.
Damn, we should have booked the kitchen.
I bet it's
Fuck.
open.
I mean, who's gonna stop? It's the weekend.
It's the weekend. It's
Like,
the
we're
freaking
just
weekend. Let's.
Yeah. Like,
we should go to the.
Can Munchies stop us? I don't think so.
No, but it might cost us a lot of money to book that kitchen. If I remember right, the Munchies kitchen is a weird thing. It's
I
not
wonder
like,
if there's different insurance shit with it.
Yeah, 'cause
where
it's
it's
like
just
yeah.
operating it.
and it's
Yeah,
tied
that
to
would make
other
sense.
brands and stuff.
But my understanding is like there's not a lot of people in the office and we have a lot of space.
That's what I'm saying.
Like we're talking about what's that second set.
That's what I'm saying.
If there was a second set, is it like a little kitchen
Let's
area?
go get the little kitchen area. What?
Prepare some cocktails, make some, whatever.
You know what?
Like,
What about the non-Munchies kitchen? What about the regular kitchen? Can we just plug in a toaster oven and we can see what you can do with it?
I could get like a little induction cooktop.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Get a hot plate and a little pot. Heat up some water. You got a stew going. Little hot plate stew. You ain't lived, son.
We'll have a camera on the stew.
Yeah.
While it's being made.
Someone says kettle roasted chicken. We could try to roast a chicken in the kettle.
Incredible.
No, we're not doing it.
As everybody gets
We're not.
food poisoning on the first day of fake E3.
Oh God.
Stew
Absolutely.
cam, stew cam, stew cam.
God, real important one here from some Somniferous Gamer. Hey Austin, Griftlands just launched on Switch. That's incredible. I love Griftlands. I saw that it had come out of early access this week. I did not know it was coming to Switch this week. I should check my email and see if they sent us a
Do you
code.
think I will like that game?
I think you played
It's
a
more narrative driven, right?
It
Which is sort of my
is.
issue with like the Slays of the Spires, where it's like I don't.
It's still run based, but it is narrative based in a way that I think the world and character design and stuff will bring you in a little bit, and you'll
I
think
need
it's
the hook,
cool at least.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
there's 3 different characters. Those characters are all cool. The world is sick. I'm excited to go download that immediately after this podcast. Next one here, Justin writes in, tell me, Waypoint crew, with E3 rumors wafting through the air, what has been more or less confirmed to be true, and what do you feel is pure speculation? How much more does the gaming press tend to actually know about what's fact and what's fiction before the rest of us? Would revealing what you know be akin to reviewing a game before the embargo is up? How does that work? Excited to check out Waypoint Plus, Justin.
I know a lot, and I often tell Austin.
Yeah. You hear
lot
things,
of-
you know?
Yeah, like I know, like I've heard a lot about a number of games that I think people are gonna be really excited about. But like personally, like I'm super interested in the like breaking game is coming out business. I got nothing against. Well, I got sometimes something against like people just breaking that stuff for the sake of breaking it. But this is not sort of my cup of tea in terms of the time and energy I spend on reporting. But I don't know. I don't think it's akin to reviewing a game before the embargo is up. Like oftentimes, like for example, when doing our E3 planning, we have like a group chat, and every time I'm hearing something, I'm sort of telling that group chat because that's like giving us a shape of like how much focus should we put on a thing. Like, is this something we really need to be excited about and want to talk about? Because I've heard, X game. I had heard the Guardians of the Galaxy game was going to be there before they announced that. So at least that gave us a sense of like the Square thing. So.
Or did that leak today? Or did you just leak that?
No. The legal firm Grubb and Schreier.
I see. I got you.
Commented on that when the Square teaser went out. So I'm just chasing their coattails on that.
Right.
I would say most people who've been in the industry for a long time know more than they are telling.
Yes.
But probably less than you think.
A good example of this is another thing is information changes. So I think about that Superman game leak that people for years, there was a rumor that there was definitely a Superman game coming. And that was sort of true, right? Because it ended up being a game about killing Superman, which ended up being Suicide Squad, right?
Also, maybe there
there were prototypes.
Superman
Exactly. That's exactly the thing. It's like, was there at some point a first playable of a Superman game? They decided it didn't work and they went a different direction. Who could say? That stuff gets out there and it changes over time. And also, sources have different places in the industry. Sometimes you catch someone who is like in the middle of 2 different companies. Sometimes you have someone who works very closely with one single company. And so, sourcing can be weird. There's a little bit of like you're in Plato's cave and reading the shadows on the wall. And it's hard to know from the outside what's true and what's speculation sometimes. For instance, there was that Nintendo Switch Pro rumor all week that was going to drop. It's one of those things where it's like, yes, do I believe Nintendo was working on a new Switch model? I do believe that. Was I skeptical when I saw someone say that they were going to put it up for pre-orders at midnight EST, or just at midnight? There was not even a time zone announced for it last night. Yes, I was skeptical of that. That at 2 p.m. in Japan on a Thursday night or Thursday midnight in the U.S., they would just go right to pre-orders without it being attached to some sort of announce video. That not the case. You know what I mean? So you get to feel it out a little bit. Shout outs to Natalie Watson in the chat who says Waypoint forever.
Thank you, Natalie.
Here we go. Hello, Waypoint crew. Are there any games you're hoping against all hope that we get to see from E3 this year that might have a surprise 2021 release? Elden Ring is the obvious one. For me, it's Hollow Knight Silksong. Why won't they give us anything on this game? Anyway,
said it's not going to be E3.
Did they just say that, or did you just say that?
Straight up said it's just not going to be there.
Silksong. Yes, I was gonna. The reason I included this question.
No, I'm
You're
Austin and I
Elden
reading,
Ring pilled.
Like,
yeah,
forum threads and
yes.
like being like, this insider.
Someone, an insider we trust.
Thread.
Yes.
This insider.
Shout outs to Omni.
Yeah,
listen, there are insiders you trust and insiders you don't trust. Some insiders have good records. Breath of the Wild 2 is obviously the one that I would love to see and then have a 2021 release. I'm not confident of that in any way. I don't believe it'll be 2021. If I had to guess, speculation, it would come out in the same window that Breath of the Wild 1 came out, which is late winter 2022, right? Like February, March, somewhere in there. If it's on track, right? We might get the classic Nintendo, we're sorry, we still don't have anything else to say about Breath of the Wild 2. We hope you're excited for Skyward Sword Remaster, even though we're making you buy amiibos to get access to fast travel, which, by the way, that fucking sucks. Excuse me. One thing
I would say that from when I've talked to folks that are familiar with Nintendo's sort of thinking on things is I think most people, because this is how Microsoft and Sony traditionally operate, is that new Switch Pro comes out this fall. Thus, we need really big game tied to it to push this hardware with a big piece of software. It's just how the industry has operated historically. Nintendo they have thought that way in the past. They don't think that way with the Switch anymore, which is not, I'm not saying, that rules out Breath of the Wild 2 coming in the fall. If that was just the plan, that's just the plan. It lined up. But I don't think that Nintendo operates on the philosophy with the Switch, especially, that it needs to tie those things together.
Right.
Because you know what they're right about. It's going to sell just fine regardless.
Yep.
And
absolutely.
If Breath of the Wild came, next spring or next summer, that would juice sales for all SKUs of the Switch anyway. So they just don't. That machine just sells so well that they can kind of throw out traditional ways of.
I'm also not sure. I don't believe that it would be good if that console came out before Breath of the Wild 2 and Pokemon Legends, whatever that Legends one is.
That game having a release date, it boggles me.
Me too. But I don't think that the Switch Pro that we're looking forward to is going. People shouldn't be thinking of it as a Switch 2. Or even a PS4 Pro, even?
Based on what I've heard, definitely not.
I would not.
Lower your expectations.
Yeah, exactly. But more than the previous Switch re-release of, a different battery, but not all the way to this is going to be a huge boost to games.
I'm getting 60 FPS in all my Switch games. Nah, it's just...
Yeah, it's not. I would love it. You can trust me. I'd love to be wrong about
if they wanted to charge me $500 for, an overpowered Switch, I would be there on day one, but Nintendo just doesn't. They're not interested.
Yeah. We got another one here, anonymous. Looking past the version of E3 that's happening next week and whether or not it'll be able to return back to its quote-unquote normal state eventually, what do you see for the future of the fan/consumer events like PAX or your regional conventions a la Dragon Con? Do you think game publishers and developers will want to spend the time and money to set up booths and staff those events? Or in the past year, do you think that they have settled into maybe preferring to reach a possible wider audience through their own produced videos and such? And as members of the press, what are your interests in attending events like PAX in the future? Are y'all thirsty for PAX again?
Yeah,
Thirsty.
I want a reason to see people again.
Yeah, but see, this is the thing. Like, I don't give a shit about PAX. Like, PAX is nice. You know what's really nice though is getting seafood near PAX with the team, and then afterwards being like, "Hey, you want to go find kind of a grimy bar by the waterfront to go like drink a ton of beer at?" Yes, like that's kind of what like, and that's the thing. It's like excuses to gather are great, and I think that's true of most people who attend these things. Most people are there like it is an excuse to see a bunch of people, probably from around the country, around the world, that you do not get to see in person very often. I don't know how many people genuinely have more than a few things at a convention they really are keen to see or be a part of. But yeah, I think for me, like I don't think these things are going away. And I think as long as they exist, developers and publishers will have reasons to attend them in some capacity. I don't know how much they'll be used as like places to do your big reveals or build your hype, like in places that you don't control as the publisher. But the events are going to exist because the need exists, like organically.
I will say part of what I do like about the events are seeing people. One, we've already said like seeing people who are your friends already, but I do also want to say one is getting to meet fans and like talk to fans after an event or doing a meetup or something like that is just not something that comes any other way, basically. And then two is devs. It's just like getting some of my favorite experiences at E3s and PAXs have been not just sitting down at the getting your appointment and like sitting down and going through the demo, but getting the opportunity to interview someone, especially with the PAX, sometimes like taking one of those hotel lobby demos versus the on the show floor demo. Going back a few years for PAX West, I like took a cab out to someone's house in the Seattle area to go play Thousand Threads, that game that we talked about last year a little bit. And that was just like, this is what the best version of this is for me, is like really chill environment, talk to a dev, and that happens because there are so many devs around that you have an excuse to go into an area, and then going to meet, like, you know, my first year at Giant Bomb, I took like 4 or 5 just meet me at the hotel lobby and show me your game on a laptop style demos, and then that also allowed for a deeper conversation with developers, and that is also part of the networking stuff, right? Is like those events tend to also have a couple of times over the weekend you go and meet up for dinner with some journo friends you have who happen to also have a developer friend, or you know a developer and you meet their friends also, and then those connections end up leading to you know, being in those, getting those press emails 3 months later that you wouldn't have gotten those press emails because this person doesn't even have a PR agent. They just have a list of people they know in the industry and they're releasing something, you know, or they know someone who is. And so they put that in front of you. And so building out that web of connections, I think, is really useful. So, next question. Congrats on the launch of Waypoint Plus. I've been a fan of the site/pod for years, so I'm really excited for the future of content. The future of content, capital F, capital C.
That's that good. Capitalization.
Yeah, I love this. Yay, Tactical Tuesdays. What are your expectations regarding the infrastructure / organization on part of this year's E3? Will the special app actually work? Are they going to leak everyone's business cards? Will it be possible to maintain some form of schedule, etc., etc.? And that's from Lena.
Can I? I'm gonna find this email I got.
Please. I got my email. I got my confirmation today. I got my E3 acceptance letter, which is nice.
So I got an email for. I have gotten a handful of, you know, like, see the game. Here are some time slots, sort of things. And I think it's gonna be pretty. Not a ton. I think it's gonna, like, you know, add up to, you know, a half a dozen at most that I end up getting all. But like, there's this one that's, here's the pitch, and then, like, it says at like right before the time slots, it's like you can like almost see like a deep sigh written into it, even though it's not there. It's like, we are just starting outreach. ... Last minute. ... To set up media appointments. ... Like, there's almost, you can read the exasperation with E3 as an organization, like in that email. I don't think supposedly the app is going to work, you know, early next week for, like, I don't know what that means. It, in the pitches are like, you'll be able to interact with exhibitors. It's like, is that, you mean my inbox? Like my email? Like what do you mean?
You're interacting with exhibitors, okay?
What does that mean?
I don't know. Don't worry about it. Apparently, have y'all logged into the E3 site since this?
I like logged in. It said you're approved, and then like kicked me back to the screen where I had to put my password in again.
Did you? Well, the email I got from them today was like, all right, so you're gonna have to go to the website and then hit forgot my password, even though you don't have a password.
You had to put in a password when you were registered.
It's very funny. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My expectations are that the app will work. It will be disappointing. It will probably crash because all of this is going really fast. No one's gonna make an avatar. The best thing probably hope
I'm gonna make an avatar. What
well,
are you
of course,
talking
that's what I guess.
Yeah.
People are going to make an avatar, but the best they can hope for is that it becomes like a bad meme on Twitter that people are kind of making fun of. But yeah, I don't know. Like, people like the idea of a week of events where they can the original idea of a E3 spun off of CES was, what if we take the collective interest of the industry and like put it under a couple of days, which then spread slowly over the course to a week and a half, over 15 years. And I think you even see like everyone, like, you got Jeff Keighley out here, like straight up just fucking like chuckling at E3, like adding journalists to be like, haha, like look at this broken ass shit. And yet he's like claiming formal E3 events like to feel like they're under his Summer of Games banner. So everyone still likes the notion of a number of days where we all get blasted with marketing and surprises and trailers, and I still like that part. I like it is still exciting to me even, and I will like skirt around learning things that I could know,
right?
Because I'm not going to report it,
right?
You know what's more fun is like seeing the trailer for new Silent Hill.
I mean, this
and
is
like losing my mind over
like that
everyone.
Blair Witch one last year, right?
Yeah,
where
that
totally.
game was bad.
I was just having this conversation. Yeah, I've had this conversation a lot with people where there's such a big difference. There's such a big gap between what is this? Hey, does anyone know? Have you heard? What is this? And oh yeah, this music?
I think that's
versus oh yeah, this is that new fantasy game by blank. Do you know what I mean? And it's tough because I know as members of the quote unquote enthusiast press, we often have to be careful about falling into the trap of just being part of a hype machine. But I like to get excited when people who've worked hard on something get to debut their thing. And as a creator, if someone like leaked the first, a trailer for a Friends at the Table season before we were ready for it, like before maybe the music was finished or before my intro was written perfectly or whatever, I'd be fucking pissed because I know that you've one chance to make a first impression, right? And so that doesn't mean that I don't think that there's value in a leak sometimes. I also sometimes am the sort of fan who is like, we've done, let me see that early Elden Ring footage. Do you know what I mean? And it's hard to find what that line is, I think. I think for me, the stuff that I think is all the way I'm not too interested in it is revealing specifics about a project that has zero announcement yet, because especially if that project is not troubled in some way where people need to, there are exceptions, obviously.
Or I think I thought when Jason Schreier just at Kotaku was like, yeah, they're making a new Fallout. I think that's useful.
Sure.
Yeah, of course they're just
yeah.
It's not trying to blow up their spot. It's shut the fuck up. They're making a new Fallout because of course they're making a new Fallout.
You don't need to. You don't need to stress about that.
That's in terms of when reporters are revealing things. I think it's better to demystify that sort of stuff frequently, because the industry gets up its own ass about secrecy. And it's of course they're making another Fallout.
The other thing there is that I also think that there's a degree to which it's funny because a lot of that coverage comes from our audience wants to know this, right? And when you have a huge audience, your audience wants to know that. Now that we are a DTC setup, a subscriber setup, I don't know that our audience cares if there's a new unannounced Kingdom Hearts game, would they want to know about it? And the answer is actually yes. Our audience would want us to leak whether or not No More is finally going to do justice by Kyrie. Have you heard
Waypoint After Dark
about Kingdom Hearts?
I tried to
UX. What's it called? Union Cross.
Read the summaries they made. My only takeaway from reading the summaries of how
we have to
was I need to get the group back together.
We
got to
convene. Natalie already left the chat, but we got to...
The council needs to get back together to try and understand what the...
Do you know the big thing? Do you know the one true big thing?
Yeah, about the villain.
About the villain and your relationship to the villain? Okay, making sure. We should go to the next question.
Okay.
I don't think that app's going to be any good. But for real, says Arcturus, if E3 finally died a just death, which is a great way of thinking at the end of an event.
What is that?
I don't know.
What is the just death?
What kind of event would y'all want to attend or cover? I don't like the ESA very much, but I do like having an event, you know? During the long quarantine, getting into a group chat and watching Nintendo Directs with friends was a blast. I like that feeling. I would love more events. I would love more... We don't need to get into the discourse, but my feelings on, like, the Wholesome Direct are probably as complicated as anyone else's, if not more complicated. But I do like the idea of independent showcases like that, which take or leave wholesome as a category, which I think is a very loaded term and blah, blah, blah. There are lots of independent games that get shown at something like that, and the big collective kind of collection of them does get more eyes on them per, than they would in if they were individually pushed out there. I think some more showcases like that would be fun. I really like it when developers get to talk about their games a little bit. So we've seen a few things over the last year where there will be there's a game trailer shown, and it'll be like a 2-minute long talk about, I think maybe even not the last Sony one, but one of the Sony events had that set up where it was like, maybe it was one of the Microsoft ones, game trailer, then 2 minutes of someone explaining what they like about their own game, what their hook is in their own game. I love that format and would love to see more in events like that are publisher agnostic, especially for independent stuff, where it's a collection of games that feels either like there's something interesting about them, or there is that they fit together in some way. Though that's kind of how you end up in the wholesome discourse, is because you've tried to, like, how do we blanket and tie all these games together? So just more of things like that are what I would like for sure. I don't know if anyone else has any replacement events in their minds.
Not also if, like, E3 is going to continue or, like, get reinvented as something else. Like, it's not a fan event, and, like, that's hard. That's a different type of event. And so if E3 was to come back, it's not like an app and like an avatar. It's like, there's no board. I mean, it would just become PAX. Yeah. And I just don't know that E3 is capable of pulling off an event like that.
I also don't want another PAX.
I like getting together.
Yeah. That's it.
Go
ahead.
The last thing I'll just add to this, it occurs to me, the industry is consolidated so much, and all the publishers make so few bets that, like, trade shows are just less interesting now, because nobody puts out that many games, and they certainly don't put out ones you haven't already played before. And so that's, you already alluded to, well, what's the real purpose of Wholesome Direct?
Right.
Well, it's because you got to figure out a theme that people are going to be like, yeah, I want to get excited for a bunch of games in this really vague, abstract vein that, like, thematically tie together somehow.
Yep.
Sure. And I think, like, really, I think we kind of enjoy if, like, E3 just had... We do love the big, stupid reveal shit. We love... Like, that's fun. But the industry doesn't put out that many of those. Instead, you get, like, bombarded with, like, staggered marketing campaigns for the same thing over and over again. And so I think it's become harder to have an event that has the variety to make an event good.
Yeah. I saw someone, says Anonymous, in games journalism say it's strange that Nintendo is having a showcase on the last day of E3, even though they're usually on the first day. However, they were always the last showcase. I think to a lot of people, the showcases are more E3 than the show floor was. Being on the journalism side, has this shift been strange for you? It is really weird to think that E3 is next weekend and not the week of appointments that follows. Though I know, for instance, there are going to be appointments in the week that follows for things. So it's not like there are none. But that, putting it in my head in that way is very strange. The fact that we're not just going to go watch the conferences and then do the work the week that follows is a little weird for my brain. I have not made that shift quite yet. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm the same way.
I hope that us doing this gives me some of that energy, because I've said this before, I like that version of me. It's it's the closest I feel to like when I used to play football, of like I'm in game mode. I'm in that mode. Or like it's the same thing as like when I was doing my PhD work and it was like, it's exam time, baby. I'm going to write 3 20-page essays in 3 days. It's going to happen. And like being in that mode is really energizing for me for like the rest of that period of the year, basically. It's like I've gone into a certain gear and I like being in that gear. I don't want to be in that gear all the time, but I like having an excuse. I like playoff season. You know what I mean? E3 is playoff season. And so I don't know that I'll get that from this. And I'm going to miss that, but I'm going to try to bring that energy to our next week's coverage. You know?
Well, and it's also fun, like, to be in the room and watching someone else get excited about a thing and like slowly, like, you know, like lose their minds. They try to figure out what that thing is. That's really exciting. And to do that with people, it's not the same as watching a chat, go wild. Like to sit next to someone as you see them like go through that roller coaster is like my favorite part of stuff like that.
Totally. All right. Real important question from Emil here. So now that it looks like E3 is done once and for all, which we're not sure of that, but you know, will it be a just death? Who could say? Is this the last of LA Rob?
As long as there's an LA, there's an LA Rob. Like, a part of me has never left.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, LA Rob had his, like, my best day in LA was after E3 ended last year, and I took the Expo line all the way up to Santa Monica, and I walked down from Santa Monica to Venice, walked the entire beach, hung out in Venice all day, and walked back up at sunset. The perfect day. Iconic. Didn't realize that was the last time I was going to be in LA for a year and a half, 2 years, maybe 3. Who knows? But like, I have that memory. I was like, you know what sounds good? Spending an entire day just walking the beach, man. Just like being part of it and just like soaking it in and vibing. And like, was that E3 content? Yes.
Technically.
For me.
Yeah.
For me.
All right. Is that Patrick? Do you have any LA Rob thoughts? Are you ready for what if you come down next week and you get here and LA Rob is here instead of Boston Rob?
I think it's I don't know I don't know what Rob is gonna.
Well, it's New York Rob.
Like,
there is New York Rob. That's a different Rob, right?
What is New York Rob? I feel like I've never heard that phrase.
We can't jump ahead. I think there's a question. Did I include the New York Rob question?
Yes, you did.
Okay, good. I'm glad you've looked ahead for me to ensure that.
We'll wait.
All right. Third topic. Honestly, whatever. I have here evidence. I did say what's next. E3 plans. Honestly, whatever. So we also got some honestly whatever questions here. First question.
Also, we are so close to Vince McMahon head whipping around.
Oh, are we?
Like, we're so close.
Are we almost at the target?
Yes.
Could we hit the target live?
We are within. We are within 40 of the target number.
Ooh, it could happen.
It could happen.
So it could happen.
We could get a hype train going.
No,
but not
here.
But not here, hype train. Not a hype train here.
No.
You can't see the feedback. That's the problem.
There's no way to plug the API into.
No, because that would take money out of Twitch's pocket, of course. Right. So why would they do that? Why would they choose
that?
To
feels
do
like
that?
something like, can we pay someone to do a script for? I feel like there are workarounds.
I think there probably are workarounds, and that we might get into trouble if we did one. But that doesn't mean that. Right, that's the thing. Let's get into some fucking trouble, baby.
Let's go. Come on,
bitch. The first question here in our whatever one just says, what's good? This comes in from Joel Fowler. I didn't leave the Joel email in because I don't want to spoil anyone's email. Actually, the email itself wouldn't have been there, I guess, right? So, hey, Joel, I just want to shout out Joel Fowler and say we would not be here without a lot of work from Joel years ago, who helped us get Waypoint off the ground. Likewise, again, I've said this before, Mike Diver, obviously Danielle Riendo, now over at Fanbyte, running things over there as EIC. To obviously the other folks who've been with us over the years, like Danica and Natalie, like the folks here at Motherboard right now, like Gita and Jason and Emmanuel and everybody else who's come through over the last little bit. So shout outs to everyone who has done so much for us over the last few years. A lot of the ideation quote unquote, of what this would be came through old conversations with Joel. Conversations is underselling it. Old work meetings with Joel, talking through things with Joel, dreaming about who we want to work with, putting together decks. So shout outs to Joel. I'm glad. Joel, I'm glad. I wish you could be here with us. I wish you could be here to celebrate. I wish you were in New York to come through. That would be very good.
One day there are like a certain sets of meetings that if one day we could ever disclose occurred would be like very funny.
Yeah, exactly. I think we could disclose that not today. Mm-mm. I think we should talk about if we could disclose that.
You know the ones I'm talking about.
I
right?
do know the ones. Are you kidding me? Because there's parts of that story, Patrick. Do you remember parts of that story when you found out some of those ideas we had?
Yes.
Okay, because we have to tell that story at some point, because that's a very funny story. I think if we hit that goal today, we should tell that story next week.
Okay, all right.
For E3, I think there'd be a reason.
At the E3 thing, or is that like an after dark?
Well, I think that there'll be a good excuse to tell that story at E3, if you know what I mean.
That's fair.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
okay.
Little teases. Kato, go. Stop. Is Kato in the chat? Kato, leave the chat. You're on vacation.
But as long as he's like got his feet up, he's drinking a Kato tail.
A Kato tail.
Whatever. Go play some Sonic Colors.
Tune was great. I loved it.
Can we ban Kato?
No, we can't ban Kato. I'm not gonna ban Kato.
It's like a temporary ban. Like,
Hang on, I just wanted to verify. I've got the count right here.
Yeah, you look at the count.
We're extremely close.
We got one in here. Speaking of Fanbyte, Nicholas Grayson from Fanbyte wrote in to say, "Yo, I don't have a question. Just want to say, hey."
Hey.
Hi, Nick. Hi, Nikki. How you doing? I hope you're good. Question from Jason. God damn it. These aren't... Can you figure out if there's a scientifically sound way to correlate motherboard's traffic to whether Emmanuel got a Warzone win the night before? I have a working theory that we do our best work after Emmanuel has tasted sweet victory, and that this will bear out when put through a rigorous series of tests. I don't know. Y'all are the science reporters. Can't you do... Some
Tune
science
into
reporting?
next Friday on our E3 Bonanza stream. We'll see. We can do some real
come through.
science.
We'll do some. Right, exactly. Would you like to play a game, like you said? And we'll.
Would you like to? Can't do it.
I think this is a powerful hypothesis. I think this is. What was the who? Oh my God! Why am I blanking on the name of the like pop psychologist who?
Here, back 1 second.
The one that everyone hates?
Okay, where are you going away? Well, there's many that people hate. I'm not the one you're thinking of. Not Blink. Not what's his face. Who else?
With the curly hair.
Not Malcolm Gladwell. Not Malcolm
No?
Gladwell.
Okay.
Who is if I was like a higher tier person on the internet, if I was truly the internet's Austin Walker, Malcolm Gladwell would probably be my nemesis. I almost said emesis, which is not. Oh my God. She's like a big games person who is like, oh, your brain becomes unlocked when you play video. When you play video games, super
Jane
McGonigal. Yes.
McGonigal? I got halfway through it, and then I was like, am I about to slander a
Jane
person
McGonigal
without...
absolutely believes the thing that is in this question. Fully. Super Better is all about this.
That's like the brain age was like the same era as McGonigal.
100%. All that
also,
stuff.
I believe, hasn't it like been proven in retrospect that brain age was like a bunch of horseshit?
It's a bunch of horseshit. 100. It was fun.
Or like then it can be fun. But then it is
it's
not
not
going
a
to
bunch
like
of
stop your
horseshit.
brain from rotting.
It's not. I believe it's not nothing. But there are limits to the ways in which we should talk about the way brains actually function and the ways in which games can produce effects, and the sort of like gamification of everyday life, etc. Anyway, I think we should do these tests. Well, we hit it.
No, we haven't done it. Austin hasn't done the thing.
Wait, but we hit it?
No,
we hit it.
You can't even confirm that until I hear something.
Well, you have to hear it. I was gonna.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
you can play it for the audience. Just give me a link and I'll give me a 3, 2, 1.
I'm gonna hit you with a link, but we also have to get through a very certain. We got to get through. You got to watch the ad, which for me was a an ad for a Marvel thing. But I think if you hit play in Discord, it should just jump right to it. Are you ready? 3,
Yeah, hold
2.
on. 3. No, well, no.
You're gonna count me in?
Okay. All right. Yeah. Here we go. All right. 3, 2, 1.
Thank you to our fans who have shown their incredible support to us. I guess a month ago, 2 months ago, Jason was like, there's a number that we can try to hit, and if we hit this, the execs are going to be very excited.
Yeah, but hit it by the end of the year or a year from now.
Yeah, they said a year from now. We hit it within a week. I think, in fact, a week and an hour. Something like that.
We didn't even make it to our... And then I think privately said, like, well, we'll hit it.
We'll hit it by
E3. We think we can hit it. Or even, like, during that stream, it's like, well, we'll hit that and it'll be good. Now,
now we are Vince McMahon. Absolutely
Joel Fowler
losing
outside the glass doors on South 2nd Street with the bam, I got her number.
I got her fucking number. Yeah, exactly. Thank you also, obviously, to Scott 2 Network, whose version of the Love Live Snow Halation theme is now playing behind us, which is extremely, extremely good. Also, by the way, they Scott 2 Network's
Scott 2 Network, I just saw.
Have you just not seen? Have you never seen this before?
I just didn't see the logo. I didn't see the logo.
Yeah, they are part of a real ska band. I was literally yesterday reading an article about their new album. God, what is it? What is the name of it? It's We Are the Union. They're part of a band called We Are the Union, which just dropped a new ska album, which seems pretty good from what I heard of it. So shout outs to We Are the Union, and shout outs to Muse and Love Live and Snow Halation, and shout outs to everyone who has subscribed. WaypointPlus.com. We fucking made it. We did the thing. What a relief. I'm sweating out of relief of having hit that number.
I was distracted by the number, but there's some crucial context I found out the other day about this Warzone situation.
Oh, okay.
Now, I'm not entirely sure this isn't a little bit of, like, roleplay that, like, Emmanuel is, like, kind of into, but apparently...
Oh, right, yes.
Team Motherboard has a shot caller.
And it's
Emmanuel.
Emmanuel. Yeah.
No, it's Joseph Cox.
Oh, is Joseph the shot caller? I thought we said Emmanuel was the... Oh, okay, I misread that whole conversation.
No. See, the thing is, like, Jason reached the conclusion, or Emmanuel reached the conclusion that, like, Joseph is their ace.
Right.
And they just have to do what Joseph says, and now Joseph gives them permission to do everything in the game. Like, right. Emmanuel, you may pick up that,
that M16. That right, sure.
Yeah. And apparently that's the only way they win now. So, I don't know, like, in terms of Motherboard performance, like, as a site, that question, you know,
that
we'll have to
now we've got
to,
right, there's some additional, right. Absolutely. Sorry, I was listening to the end of that song, which is still very good. Also, someone in the chat, I've lost it now, it's just said carrot time, babies, which I love carrot time as a way of subscribing.
Some, like, very funny person spammed the carrot like 9 times, and
good.
They got muted for 5 seconds by Nightbot for
worth it.
spamming carrots.
Absolutely
raise the carrot post into the Ring of Honor.
Yes.
I don't know
for
what the
the stream.
Like 4,
it seems
4
like
carrots,
5. People
okay?
are now like really
Testing
playing
the carrot?
chicken with it. I think 5 carrots.
Right up to that.
Right up to the carrot limit. We got another question.
One's unsticked.
This is important.
Oh, look at it! Oh, ow!
Ooh! Oh, but that's a mod. That's vehemently use that. That's abusive mod power. Oh, carrots in the chat. Love that. Hey, what character build would you be most excited to use in Elden Ring, assuming the majority of the stat types carry over from the Soul series? Thanks, Ryan.
So Luck's the most important stat, right?
Luck's the most important.
Luck build.
Luck build. Bob Zachney luck build. I would like... the thing is, I've been playing Dragon's Dogma, and I started thinking, you know what would be sick is, what if they really leaned in to open world RPG-ness, and on top of regular Dark Souls stuff, they also included new verbs and new, like, abilities. Like, they broadened out what spells look like, so that you have that sort of...
That's what I feel like it has to be. Like, that's what I don't...
You know?
Like, this question actually...
I
if
don't
it's
just
true,
want this. I do want those stats, but...
Yeah, but again, like, as always, I think when we've had these conversations, I'd be preemptively disappointed that the game would not push me in a different direction.
Correct.
If I could just be soldier type for, like, you know, the 8th time in a row.
Right. I would love there to be...
Or I'm soldier type with X,
right,
Y,
right,
Z.
right. I understand that part of the joy of Dark Souls is it's classless, and I wouldn't want it to not be classless. I wouldn't want to go to classes the way that like Dragon's Dogma has, but I would love for there to be like, well, when you get this many points, obviously it's already there with spells to some degree, but I would like that spell integration to look more like ability integration in another game or something. So
yeah, but I still I constantly think about in the leaked footage the stealth stuff.
Yeah,
like that's what gets my brain going.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, stealth has never really been a thing. It was kind of in Sekiro, but that's because it was more
built
it was
for
more
that.
thematic
Yeah,
than it was like actually like a real concentrated.
But the way that's a good thing is like think about the way that in Sekiro you were using items all the time. I would love that style of like constant use. And again, I know there are spell builds that are like that sort of, but I would love that style of like more than a focus on using a wider skill set. And so inside of that, I don't know. I just finished reading Berserk, so maybe I would do a big dual-handed, Claymore build. So we'll see.
I'm now just imagining like Austin calling in to like New York sports radio.
Yeah.
I'd like to argue about the classlessness of the Souls games.
I just think these games don't have any class, Mike. First time
That's
last.
not how it's supposed to be done.
That's not how it's
That's
supposed to be
not
done
how
out
we play
there.
the RPG.
Just like the Knicks.
Oh.
R.I.P. to the Knicks.
All right,
Sorry,
rip
Knicks
to the
fans.
Knicks.
Hey,
Shout outs to Knicks fans everywhere.
R.I.P. to the Lakers dynasty.
Ooh, that was a rough one.
Yeah, I saw LeBron out today. It's like time to pivot to Space Jam 2, and I was like, all right, bro.
Damn. Jason Finelli, who signed here, freelance video games journalist, picked for the last two Smash Brothers Ultimate characters, LeBron James and Guts from Berserk. I know it's another sword character, but this one's different. I know that Ike from Fire Emblem is already a Guts from Berserk, but I don't care.
Come on, they gotta. If they finish it with Goku, that would just make me so happy.
Oh, please put Goku in that game. People are saying Bowsette. They'll never put Bowsette in anything.
No, they will never acknowledge that Bowsette
existed. Vector Man would be good. Guy Fieri.
Dale Cooper.
Dale Cooper would be good. I'd say they couldn't do it, but they could do it. The Phantom of the Paradise, yes, good. What if no Goku but Piccolo? I like that idea.
Just to make people mad.
Just to make people mad, exactly.
Put the carrot in Smash.
Doom Guy, I could imagine. I want Doom Guy, but I want it to be like Jill from Marvel vs. Capcom. I think that's Jill, where like the zombies show up whenever she does attacks, and like that's part of her attack, or some of her special attacks are like enemies from Resident Evil showing up. I want that with Doom Guy, where like occasionally a cyber demon just shows up or whatever, And I
want the aesthetic of the Doom Guy to actually be like the plushies that you find in the original like Doom 2016, like that. I want it to be a big hulking plushie.
Yeah. Ooh, Kiryu says Teddy Bear XO. That's a great one.
But there's been no Yakuza games on Switch.
Is that? Oh, right, because they don't like to associate with the Yakuza.
Well, that's true. Right? Is that why those games aren't on Switch?
That's my theory. Who could say?
Have there been any like data mines or like leaks on the last two?
I can't say that definitively, but I think that it's funny. I don't know.
Damn.
Yeah.
You cracked it.
Cracked the case. Zagreus is a fun one. Zagreus from Hades could be fun. Again, a sword character. Oh, but not necessarily a sword character. If you put Zag in and then have different weapons, that would be sick. I don't think they're going to do that, but it would be good. Anakin Skywalker. There we go. That's the right answer. Hi, says Theodore, Austin, Rob, Patrick, and all. Congratulations on launching Waypoint Plus. I hope it goes well. My question is the following. Which character from a video game who does not normally work in the food industry would you most trust to be your partner in opening a restaurant? And briefly, what would your restaurant's concept be? Bonus question, which of your colleagues would you prefer to join you in running this restaurant? Rob is who I'd want joining me. No offense.
But I feel like we can't choose Rob because I think that's too easy.
Then Kato.
Yeah.
No offense, Patrick. I would rather Rob. Frankly, Rob and Kato should open a restaurant.
Yeah.
Should steal this money.
And well, actually, like, I didn't want to like. I was worried this would come across weird. Like, what are we doing with the money? We're singing it all into a restaurant.
We're opening up Waypoint Plus.
We're actually
Cafe.
buying one of the Waypoint restaurants.
Yes. Oh. We were putting all that money in the pizza place that burned down that I liked. We're just giving it all right to Retro Pizza.
We're bringing
Cafe.
it back.
We're bringing it back, baby.
What are they? I forget. There's like, isn't there a term for like these like pop-up scam restaurants that like
there is
ghost kitchens.
Ghost kitchens, but we're not a scam, okay? We're for real. Trust
not
us.
like those other
Waypointplus.com.
Waypointplus.com. The money goes to a restaurant. Everybody gets pizza.
So, I think I'm recruiting Jesse Faden for this quest.
Oh, sure.
One,
okay.
her backstory
From Control.
Jesse Faden's
right?
worked in food service. Like,
Yeah,
Jesse
yeah,
Faden
that's
has,
true.
like, her whole itinerant journey before she gets to the Federal Bureau of Control,
Yeah.
she definitely was, like, a line cook at some point. Like,
yeah.
hands down. Second, like, what is the story of Control if not, like, she shows up, sees a difficult, like, high-pressure situation,
Sure.
and just, like, you know, cleans that shit up. That she walks in there, the FBC was in the weeds, as they say, and
Cleaned
she
it all
completed
up.
the service.
Yeah, totally. You could handle the cooking and like the chefeteering, the kind of coming up with all sorts of great new dishes and figuring out the menu. And Jesse could handle all of like the biz dev and making sure that you have all the right approvals and licenses and all that stuff. I agree with that. I would choose Guts from Berserk. And also someone in the chat says Kim Kitsuragi from Disco Elysium. Great answer. Kim would be a great business partner.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
He'd run the books.
He would absolutely make sure we don't get into any legal trouble or financial trouble.
He'd work it out.
He would work it out. Actually,
He would grumble. He'd
the
grumble. Ugh.
Harry and Kim open a restaurant AU sounds incredible. Oh, I would absolutely go to the Disco Elysium diner in a second. So, absolutely.
So Guts could use his sword as a pizza paddle, and I'm also flashing back to Samurai Delicatessen.
Sure, yeah.
The immortal SNL bit.
But with Guts. Question. I have a potential food crime for you all. Brian writes in, am I the only one who prefers dipping a hamburger into ketchup each bite instead of putting ketchup on the burger under the bun? People I've told this to seem to think it's very weird, but it's good. Burgers are too dry otherwise. I know people who do this.
Why choose do both?
Do both. I think this is fine. I don't think this. Well, okay. I think that this is a deeply understandable food choice. In the sense that I think that this just emerges from a natural urge of I want more ketchup on this.
I love ketchup.
Ketchup. Put the ketchup.
My instance to have too much of it is.
You know what I mean? I don't think that this is a hard one to unpack. I think this is a very natural urge.
Well, and also, we're missing something really important that Brian did here. There's no ketchup on the burger. Because this is another way you control. Like, one of the real issues with like burger construction is sometimes, especially if it's kind of a juicier burger, they can sometimes fall apart. There's like enough like wet ingredients that like unless that bun's real sturdy,
cohered. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of good reasons to maybe cut down on those condiments that you're putting on it, and like if you can just save some of that like hydration, put the ketchup on the side and like sort of daub it on. Oh, delicious!
I'm with you. I'm with Brian. I'll do this. We should get a good burger when y'all are in town. I think should put that on the list.
Or a few.
Or
well, obviously,
a few good burgers.
I'll just be cooking them straight on.
Oh, can we just get a grill going on outside?
Yeah, I just want
in the apron. Oh, please.
I'm like trying to talk about some game, and all of a sudden I get like some hot oil. Like, ow, Rob.
Yeah. Oh.
Man, remember that time I started a small fire?
I do remember that. But also, do you remember how good?
Right as Art arrived?
I do recall this. Yeah. Yes. Did Art ever get back that cookware? Do we know?
So the person who's supposed to give it back to him reported that it was not as sturdy as it appeared, and may have been destroyed in a related cooking accident.
I see.
However, basically, Art, I owe you a nice roasting pan.
Please, get in touch. You know how to contact each other.
We could I want to, does Waypoint Plus unlock? It won't be on this adventure, but like I want to make. Can we go back to the podcast where we talked about different Waypoint sandwiches?
And make those sandwiches.
I
think we can.
I want to make the lasagna-rito.
The lasagna-rito. The lasagna burrito for sure.
Oh, where we could and then while things are in the oven, we could play games.
This sounds like a great time to me. Let's make this happen. We can make this happen. Hey team, what's your go-to travel tumbler for coffee or tea? There's so many of them, and a lot of them are bad. I love this one from Kinto because it's compact, sleek, and works really well. And then in with an asterisk footnote, seriously, ice cubes don't melt in this thing. I love it in the same way I love a unique gadget or a good backpack. It feels like an extension of my personality, a way to express myself and show that I have good taste. LOL. Anyway, maybe a weird question, but I love it when you go deep on electric or specialty topics, and given your love for leather-bound laptops and stuff, I felt it was appropriate. Anyone have a tumbler or a similar special cold or hot beverage container that you love?
I will say, not usually, but like Nintendo sent this to me as a part of like you can't see this.
Money hat.
You can see it on the stream.
This is a real conflict of interest situation.
I know. Well, I usually just these things go to the Goodwill. If I get tricked into getting something in the mail because I think I have to agree to it to get a code. But this tumbler for like water, it's a really nice size.
Sure.
I like that it twists on.
Yeah.
It fits into. Occasionally, I've made the mistake of getting tumblers or water containers that don't fit in to like the spot in my car.
Yeah.
So then it's too big, so I'm throwing that on the floor and it's rolling around. It's just a cool design. Like I like video game things that don't look like video game things.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. A thing that has happened. So mine is this Yeti tumbler that I have, which I've had now for 6 months, something like that, and I really like it. And it does a thing of ice. I left like just some ice water in it overnight once, and I woke up and the ice was still in there, which is like that rules. It was like still ice cold. And so a very funny thing has happened recently, which is I've gotten all of these emails from companies saying, or not from companies, from one person and a company that keeps saying, hey, we just added Yeti to our collection of customizable brands. I thought you might be into Vice Media Yeti tumblers. They make a great team summer gift. Want me to send you a catalog with product options? And then it does say, if you don't want to hear from us, let me know by clicking here. And I got 4 of these, including from just the company itself. I don't know why I'm on this, but I kind of think we should get these.
I just think we just hit the moment where it's like, hey, dear
Rhodes, aka Schluter McGavin, we're doing it. We're making our own. We're gonna get you we're gonna get in contact with this person who's emailed me, dear Annie, who's emailed me 4 times. Yes. I don't know. Finally. I don't know, Jason.
Can you reply to the first one you got though, whatever is the oldest possible email.
Hey, I'm catching up on email. Just saw this.
Doing that inbox 0 thing.
God, exactly. Do you have one, Rob? Do you have your own brand that you want to suggest?
No, this is just related to the destruction of Art's cookie sheet.
Yes, go for it.
Pen.
Yeah.
So just quick context here. The people who destroyed it, they're the people who helped me move out of LA back in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
I did the thing where I was like, I got this unlocked. I'll figure this out. I'll manage to do this all in like 12 hours before I need to be out of here and on a plane.
Yeah.
And then the first thing I picked up, I fucked up my back and I was like, uh-oh. So I called my buddy and his wife and was like, could you guys maybe help me move a little bit? And they did. They came in and basically like Mr. Wolfed my entire apartment situation. They got a lot of really nice shit out of an apartment I lived in for 1 year and inherited a lot of it, which was nice.
Yeah.
But also they were total troopers. I did not see them again for a year until after E3. And I was like, after my beautiful day on the beach. Turns out, while I was walking back up from Venice, I mistimed it a little bit. And I really should have been back at the expo line about an hour and a half before I got there.
Yeah.
And so I was very late to dinner. But also, I had to give them, I ran out of time to give this roasting pan back to Art.
Mm-hmm.
So could you guys give this to the same people? I was like, hey, great to see you guys again.
By the
Missed
way,
you so much. By the way, here's another
errand.
problem I need you to clean up because I'm leaving LA once again in the next 8 hours. So here's this pan. And it just didn't survive the next broiling experience. But yeah, so
wait. To be clear, then they used it, is what you're saying.
They did.
But you think they earned that right by doing you a different favor earlier that day?
Also, they were well, I can't speak to my buddy, but his wife Kate, she's a very good cook. Like if she says the thing just died in normal use.
Okay,
it died in normal use. Like like that Williams Sonoma thing was like, it just wasn't meant for actual like heavy duty cooking. It was
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna move on.
All right, your cookie sheet was soft.
Wow. Hi, Waypoint, says Imran from Sugarland. I'm planning a trip to New York in September. I would like to hear from the non-New Yorkers of the group what I should do. I'm tired of hearing well-thought-out expert opinions. I specifically want to know what Patrick and Rob's to-do list looks like when they get to New York. Thanks for indulging me.
One, as an addendum to the last question, yeah. I have had the same messenger bag for probably 10+ years. Got holes in it. I can still use it.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to use this trip to New York as an excuse to finally buy a new one.
What brand is it?
Huh?
What is it? What brand is it?
I don't know. I'd have to look. I don't even know off the top of my head. But I'm looking for suggestions. I need to buy something before I really like Fossil
bags a lot. Have I ever told you the story about
that might be what I have.
Yeah, I have a decent Fossil bag now. I had one when I was in Canada. When I was in Canada, I had a messenger bag that was falling apart, and I was like, I think I just made some money from freelance writing, and it was like, I think I can fit this into my budget. Oh, well, I know. So I went to the JCPenney. I think it was JCPenney or Macy's, and I looked around at their bag selection, and I found one I really liked, and I checked the online prices. I was like, it's cheaper here with this special sale because it's a sale for dads and grads. Father's Day's coming up. Let me get this on that special Father's Day sale. And I go up to the counter, and the woman who is ring me up says, "Oh, is this a gift for your dad?" And I was like, "Yeah," because I didn't want to say no, because I just wanted to go with the flow. I was just like, "Yeah," and so I bought it. And then I get out the store, and I immediately threw mine out and loaded my old messenger bag out, and immediately was like, I'm just going to use this now. This messenger bag is sick. Put all my stuff in it. And then I realized as I was finished loading things up, it still had one of those plastic, security alarm things on it, which didn't go out when I left through the door, and I couldn't get it off. So I had to go back in to find the register and ask her to remove it. And I had to be like, I guess it didn't...
Trying it out for him.
Just trying it out, yeah. I was just like, I didn't say a word. I was just like, yeah, this thing had the thing on it. And that bag was good. I had that bag for years until I got that Destiny bag that they sent. Speaking of collusion.
That one, right?
That one's still... No. I got rid of that one. That one fucked up my shoulder for like 6 months because it had two weird straps, and they didn't fit all the way around a human body as a crossbody bag, just as a shoulder strap single side bag. And so I clipped them together with like these two metal hooks, and used that as a full body strap, and that just dug into my left shoulder for a year. And then I was like, my shoulder hurts quite a bit, and I'm gonna start wearing this the other way. And then like for 6 months, my shoulder continued to hurt because I'd done some sort of permanent damage from this piece of metal like drilling into my shoulder for a year. You treat your body all right, please, people. Don't be like me. Anyway, Patrick, so you're gonna go shopping. That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go bag shopping.
I need to order it. I'm gonna order it this weekend so I can get it in time for the trip. So people hit me up on Twitter if you got recommendations on cool messenger bags. And I haven't bought one in a decade, so I guess I'm like prepared to spend like adult money on a bag that I'll have for 10 years.
Waypoint Plus money, baby. It's going right to Patrick's. Right to Patrick's.
I hope you know Waypoint Plus. It goes right into my PayPal.
Yep.
I don't. So it's funny. Like I have no opinion of New York because I don't have much of a sense of New York. Every time I come to New York, it has been as far back as when I started working for MTV. It was I went straight into Times Square and stayed at a hotel in Times Square, because that's where MTV's offices were. When I have come in for Joel, I think just DM'd me on Discord with a messenger bag options.
Thank you. That's classic Joel. That's the most Joel. I love Joel so much.
When I've come in for Kotaku, it was the same thing. I'm here for work. When I've come in for Vice, it's always like I'm here for work. like especially once I had kids, it's like, well, I'm just here to do the thing I need to do. I'm gonna out, and so I've just never gotten. When it's like, what borough am I? I was like, I don't know. I don't know, man. I fly in, I add to a place. I've never done the full like I'm gonna stay in New York, like spend a week there. Like, and I really do want on one of these. Maybe this will happen on this. Like, if we do another, like, I don't know, September stream or something like that. Just pulling that out of my ass. Don't hold us to it. But like, I would love an excuse.
It's a leak.
Like,
Patrick Klepek says we're doing a stream in September.
I mean, yeah, something like that would fit. Like 3 months later, yada yada. But like an excuse to like bring my family out, like do some, like go do that. I've never done. I've never been to like Statue of Liberty. Like, I've never done any of those things. Like, that would be fun to do with I know you say, oh, you don't have to do
Rob is going to be more New Yorker than a New Yorker here.
That's what I think. Because I think, like, when you hear
the
Rob...
battery is close enough.
Rob has, has the don't be a tourist, be a traveler, like, tattooed on his bicep.
So, this is a little bit tricky because I don't know what's open right now. And I don't know what's going to be open later this year. Like, I mean... some places I loved are just gone. The Pegu Club closed during the pandemic. You know, it was a place that was a great place to get a drink. In general, like I usually liked seeing some kind of show if there's anything cool on Broadway that like it genuinely is a cool experience to go do. I like the New Museum a lot.
New Museum's sick, yeah. Sorry, I'm not supposed to talk.
No, I think like the museums, they're great.
Yeah,
go to them. Like you know, they're worth visiting. In terms of, I like walking around the city a lot. Like it's fun. If you like, genuinely, one of my happiest places is like just the long hike from like the Lower East Side down into like Brooklyn across the Manhattan Bridge. It's a nicer walk than either the Brooklyn Bridge or the Williamsburg Bridge. It's just nicer views. It's cool. In terms of places like I like to stop by, I think Prince Street Pizza is like just one of the best fucking pizzas in the world.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. So like my recommendation is like hit up some of the museums. They genuinely are worth it, and the special exhibits are always cool, and you will see shit that like it's not just a part of the collection that will always be there. They rotate it through, and there's stuff that like is always worth catching before it's gone. But yeah, that's kind of my approach. I don't know what New York is going to be like this year. You know, when I did it a couple years ago, it was a lot of museums. It was taking in shows. It was going to like nice restaurants and bars. All of those things are up in the air as of right now. Mm-hmm. And in September, hopefully it's all back and we're living, you know, the high life. But I am really curious what the vibe in New York is going to be when I'm down there next week.
We're going to find out, and I'm excited to explore it with you. I think this is our final question at this point, so thank you everyone who has joined us today. Thank you especially to Scott Mendenko on Twitter for this beautiful Waypoint Pizza for Everyone image that I've pulled up on the screen right now. What a beautiful pizza that looks like.
That's so good. I want to eat
this pizza. I would like to eat this pizza. This has been a really a blast, and thank you for this again. This very successful first week of launching this. It is so vindicating and validating to know that y'all have our backs in a moment like this, to know that you're here to support us and let us do the work we want to do. We have been trying to make something like this happen for years and years now.
I doubted. Like when the number was thrown down and you were like, I think we can clear that. I was like, I think we could clear that 3 years ago, Austin. I'm not sure that like we're in that place. I like it.
Sure.
When we were 48 hours before launching this, I was like, I think I drew this analogy. I was terrified that we were going to be like, we invited everyone to our birthday party, and then nobody shows up.
Totally,
I was just utterly terrified.
How could anyone know? You know, how are you supposed to know? So, but we did it, and we could not have done that without you. And we hope that we continue to make cool stuff for y'all to check out, and that you're excited as we are. And we'll be back next week with more regular Waypoint Radio, with all of the E3 coverage. I don't know, is that LA Noir thing going up next week? When is that going up, Rob?
Yeah, once Kata time is over,
Okay.
I think we'll be able to get that episode up.
Cool.
Somebody asked, should I replay LA Noire? Do you want to replay
Right.
LA Noire? I think the conversation will get you up to speed on the major plot beats. I don't think you need to go like shotgun this massive fucking game. One of the central points is Cam and I both think that game is way too goddamn long.
It's very long. I was thinking someone had written in to be like, "What's your dream game?" And we will answer that question in a future Q&A. And I was gonna talk about detective stories I really like, and what I was gonna say is just the final like 6 hours of LA Noire, because there's like 25 other hours in that game, and it just goes and goes and goes.
That was my pitch to Cam when I was like, "It's worth doing retrospective because people remember a lot of like the mechanics of LA Noire, some of the lackluster first third of the game type stuff. It has a really strong finale that was worth seeing, and not enough people talk about it. So we did.
The end. We did. We talked about it. You talked about it.
As soon as Kato's back, as soon as Kato descends from the mountains,
from Kato time,
then we will get that out the door on the Waypoint Plus feed.
And I'll probably end up putting this in the Waypoint Plus feed too. My guess is we're gonna do some stuff like that in general going forward. Some stuff that is like, we'll do it live on Twitch, and then an audio archive will go on to live in the Waypoint Plus feed. I think that mix of like free for everyone but archive for subscribers, it feels like a fun way to like do stuff that everyone can have access to for a little while. Obviously, the Twitch VOD will stay. We're not going to take the Twitch VOD down, but
live for 90 days.
I think something like that. And then most Twitch people have been asking this earlier. I just want to be clear. Things like Tactical Tuesdays are going to go live on YouTube. Again, we mentioned already in this stream once, but I wanted to re-answer that one. Especially go back and listen to the beginning of the stream, or if you have questions that you aren't sure if we answered a bunch of stuff up top, and we'll continue to answer stuff in the weeks to come. I would say stay tuned for post E3 for things to kind of settle into a schedule or a rhythm. Up until E3, a lot of things are going to be coming together, and then even after that, there will be a beta period in which we're figuring things out. So don't expect us to be like immediately like boom, every Monday this, every Tuesday this, every Wednesday this, etc. We're going to figure all that as we're going, and that'll develop over the summer. Waypoint Summer starts now, I guess.
Ooh,
Waypoint Summer.
Waypoint Summer.
It's a little too close to White Boy Summer. If you say it under your breath, if you go Waypoint Summer, people are like, "What? Would you say White Boy Summer?" And I would have to say, absolutely not. I did not say that. Please don't associate me with that. Summer of Waypoint. Summer of Waypoint sounds better.
That's better.
Summer of Waypoint. Not as
goodbye Summer of Arcade. Hello Summer of Waypoint.
That's
Remember
right.
Summer of Arcade. Wow.
Remember Summer of Arcade? What were those games? What was in there?
A lot of great games. I think
Your arcade
Spelunky was
games.
one of them, wasn't it?
But that was later, right? That was this later Summer of Arcade.
Everyday Shooter.
Everyday
one, right?
No, because that was a PS3 game. I know, because when I got my PS3, I was like, "Damn, I want to play Everyday Shooter so much."
Shooter, was that what I'm thinking?
Limbo.
Maybe
Braid.
that was it. All right, first set: Bionic
Limbo.
Commando Rearmed, Braid,
Fez.
Castle Crashers, Galaga Legends, Geometry Wars Retro Evolved 2. That was the first one. Other big hits. Yeah, Fez, Shadow Complex, Explosion Man, Trials HD.
Yeah.
That Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light game, that was pretty cool. Limbo, Monday Night Combat was a big one. A bunch of games. Summer of Arcade, we're coming for you. Summer of Waypoint. Did someone just open a bottle? What was that sound?
Rob opened like some sort of brown liquor, I believe.
That was
half an hour ago.
a spirit for sure.
Celebratory Glenlivet 18.
Okay. Well, enjoy that.
We hit the number.
We hit the number.
We did hit
I can buy, throwing out all the other only Glenlivet 18 from here, opening a restaurant and just drinking this.
Waypoint Plus. We hit the number. We reported the news. Set in the tone of we reported the news. What just happened here? We hit the number.
What number? A good one.
A good one.
Vince McMahon, heavy breathing.
Aaron Sorkin presents the story of the WWE would be extremely watchable content.
Oh my god. Oh shit, that's the greatest idea I've ever heard. Tom Hardy playing like 3 different people. And
wow, I
all
want
the,
it.
Iconic wrestlers in Sorkin.
Over the ages. Oh, I want that now so bad.
Imagine, oh shit, he rewrites the pipe bomb speech.
Yeah, yeah. It's the CM Punk pipe bomb, but it's with all the Sorkinisms you
in
can
this
ever...
version. Cena talks back, and it turns into a dialogue.
Of course, right. It's more powerful that way. Dialogues are always more powerful than monologues. All right, we're going to end this podcast before we bring something hellish into existence. Thank you all. Waypoint.vice.com for articles. WaypointPlus.com to subscribe. Right here, twitch.tv/Waypoint to watch. And again, come back next week, starting Friday, with some Waypoint E3 coverage. I'm going to be on some stuff next week. I'm going to guest on some stuff next week. That's all I'll say about that.
We're going to do one regular podcast, and then...
Right, on Monday, we'll release Tuesday.
Right, and then the second podcast will be recorded as a part of this E3 stuff, right? That Friday morning.
That makes sense to me. Yes.
Yes.
So look forward to that. Find me on Twitter, twitter.com/Austin_Walker. Where can people find you, Rob?
Rob Zachney.
Patrick.
At Patrick Klepek.
Carrots in the chat. Waypoint Plus, pizza for everyone. WaypointPlus.com. I gotta load up some music to play us out. I was like, shit, I have to go back to the intro card.
I really like
Carrots in the chat.
This carrot thing that we've fallen on is great.
It's real. Do you know what I'm saying? It's real.
This is natural. It's organic.
Exactly.
We need to unlock the ability to spam more carrots in the chat.
That's a stretch goal. I agree with this. All right.
Mods, please do not.
Please
unlock
don't. Can you
more
please not unlock
spam.
the carrots? Sorry. Listen, no, that's not true. Look, the mods are out here. Trash Tabby in the chat. Billion carrots. This is what I love. I love to see the carrots. All right, everybody, that's gonna do it for us. Peace.
Nightbot working overtime.
Everything's the same. You waste away everything you find. You sold out for something you wanted, the future and the fear. You waste away everything you left behind. Cause everything's the same. You waste